This is the knockout artist, Chris Hero. And if you're looking for some true heel heat, you better listen to them boys.
Alright, this is Daz here, very nice, very evil. You are watching Tru Heel Heat. Probably should have had MJF do this, but here we are.
Hey guys, it's Rosa and welcome to Tru Heel Heat.
What's up, Tru Heel Heat? Tru Heel Heat.
What's up? Tru Heel Heat.
All right, hello, Tru Heel Heat. I'm the AEW World Champion MJF. Just in case you're deaf, dumb, blind, stupid, or since you listen to this podcast poor, you're listening to Tru Heel Heat, and I apologize for that.
CEO, 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 CEO. Or if you like us here at Tru Heel Heat the last couple of weeks or the last few months, CPT, CPT, CPT. It's the Tru Heel Heat flagship podcast. Any good Saturday morning cookout is going to be late by a couple of minutes. So we are here to give you that fresh morning cooking, talking about the latest in professional wrestling as we welcome the CEO to All Elite Wrestling and the fallout from AEW Big Business with the ratings, with the contracts, what everything's gone down. We also got Vince McMahon lawsuit news with people being identified as corporate officer number 1, number 2, number 46. We're going to talk all about it. It's the Tru Heel Heat flagship podcast. Let's get to it. Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, SP3. We are live on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for Tru Heel Heat 268. You welcome, CEO, discussing the latest wrestling news, including the fallout from AEW Big Business with the debut of Mercedes Mone, Stephanie McMahon, and Nick Khan implicated in the Vince McMahon lawsuit. Recap of this week in wrestling with AEW Big Business, Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, ROH TV. We had New Japan Pro Wrestling, New Japan Cup Week 2 with House of Torture. Yes, I'm going to be angry today, guys. Stardom had their Cinderella tournament. Also had WWE SmackDown with The Rock concert return, Raw, NXT, TNA, Impact. Plus, we'll give you our matches of the week. We are joined as always by the beautiful, the lovely princess of all the Tru Heels, coming straight from Boston, Krssi Luv.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday. It There was some big business happening on Wednesday. One of the best dynamites I've ever seen or was able to attend because I've been to quite a few now. My God, wow, chills. I think when I rewatched it was even more louder on TV than it was in the building. But great.
I bet it was deafening in the building because it
Oh
was loud
man,
on
like
TV.
yes. So I think they like turned up the notch and made it even more louder. But such a good time, such a great thing. What a week we've had so far. Stephanie Man going to jail? What's happening?
We'll talk about that when we get to WWE, but we're going to talk about the Converse first. And to do that, to talk about Mercedes Mone debut, I had to bring in one of the heavy hitters, one of the people that I know is a huge fan of Mercedes Mone, a huge fan of what went down at Big Business. He is Scott E. Wrestling. Scott Edwards, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on. I love talking about Mercedes Mone because that is someone I consider one of the all-time greats, and she got her respect this week.
Yes,
finally. It's taken long enough. I'm very excited for what's to come with her, but just the initial reaction, from the people that matter.
That's how you do a debut.
Exactly. That is exactly how you do a debut. With the new song, the new presentation.
Yes.
I have been saying, she left WWE forever ago now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
it is forever ago.
It was the pandemic.
That's what. No, it wasn't the pandemic. It was 2020.
Oh, no, sorry. Sorry.
Everything that's went down since she left WWE, it feels like it's been 20 years.
Right.
Yeah. So my whole thing was the moment she goes to AEW, because I always thought she would. I really did. Like I thought she didn't do enough just in Japan for like this to be worth it, right? She needs to take a few more different journeys before she ever even considers going back. And money's whatever, but she has so much more she wants to do. And I said
it's worth more than money, I think, at this point.
Absolutely. And I said when she goes to AEW, the division needs to be ready for her. The company needs to be ready for her, because you're not signing a new face of your women's division. You're signing a new face of your company. You're paying her that money to be the face of your company, right? She is now probably top 5 highest paid in that company.
Yep.
At least,
better be.
It's like top 6, top 7 with the numbers I've been hearing for Okada and Ospreay. So and we all know I've been saying it for weeks, Scott. So I'll say it to you: Chris Jericho has the Scott Hall Kevin Nash clause. I swear to you,
he has to.
Anyone who comes in gets a pay raise. He gets a pay raise. That's how it works.
He has the fast forward clause for me. Which is I just skip his stuff now because it's so boring.
Like at this point, and then they change. We'll talk about more.
I was like, this was a near perfect Dynamite, except for the toilet break.
Yeah, yep. And we was like, "What music is this?" And the music he came out, we was like, "Oh, okay."
They didn't even give him the music that you can sing along with, so it feels good for about a minute.
You know when they gave him that music,
it's still Chris Jericho.
They gave him that music when it was time for Collision, for Rampage time, when it was time to introduce him, and that's when they put us music on. We was like, we don't want to sing right now, though, but like, okay, whatever. It's not TV.
They took the one good thing away from him that people like nowadays. It's like, I'm watching that show. I didn't mean to do a Chris Jericho rant here, but I'm watching that show, and like everything just makes sense. Everything feels new. Everything feels exciting. And then he comes out, and I'm like, You're so 2019 AEW, we've moved on.
We've passed on from that.
And he's had so many fumbles. Like this is not the Chris Jericho of even 2022, 2021. When he had successful feuds with like Orange Cassidy and MJF that elevated him. Like he had his whole spiel on his show where he was like, "Oh, I've elevated. Look at all the people I've worked with. They've been a better spot than they were in." So he said Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy and MJF and the Inner Circle and JAS and Daniel Garcia. I thought the MJF one, it helped MJF to play off of a character that was so similar to him, and it made him him more despised and actually made Jericho a babyface for the first time. So I thought it
I had to
was
watch
very
Jericho win in the end. So
well.
I was upset.
I mean,
that's a classic though with Jericho.
yeah. He
Like the
lost
Eddie
every
Kingston one?
single match, and then he
Yeah.
won the last one.
That's not how feuds work.
Yeah. And then they're just throwing him down our throats with Hook now. I was like, come on already. Like, leave Hook alone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's been so many people because Daniel Garcia did not get helped by Jericho because he held on to him too long. Then Sammy has been basically stifled by Jericho because of how often he's gone back to him. And now you got Hook, where he just feels like another line of this kind of secession. And also Takeshita and Hobbs is in there too. They weren't really helped by working with Jericho.
Yeah. I mean, Sammy's got other problems, but Jericho is a big one. I don't even know how we got Jericho. I don't know.
We were talking about Dynamite when we went into that, but finish my opening spiel here. Sound off in the live chat. We were highlighting some of your comments already, but of course, if you want to make sure your highlight is commented on screen and you want to show your support to what we do here, you can send a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. We will highlight your comment on screen. It goes back to the contributors you see on here on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel consistently, and we want to thank you all and thank our contributors because we hit a new milestone of 13,000 subscribers this morning. So thank you all for the big support in helping us reach our next milestone, trying to hit that 15K and then 20K by the end of the year. But this is the way we love to move. So thank you so much for all the new subscribers and all the new support. And yes, that's a new thing. I don't know if you saw AE Ramble this week, Krssi Luv. We have now renamed the Super Chat into the Super Chism. Yes.
What? What's happening?
Why? He's the one that gives us most of the Super Chat, so it's a Super Chism. There we go. Got to name it after him. Thank you so much, Negro Buck in the chat. Congrats on 13K. He says the Chisholm Awards. Our producer says as well. We need to do that. We also start off every edition of our flagship podcast with our Tru Heel roll call, showing support and shout outs to everyone supporting us over on social media and Patreon. Our top 3 conversation starters on our Facebook group page are Tru Heel Trinity. We got Randy Trevor Lewis. Number 2 was Dalton Charles, and number 1, Luis Jaden. Our Patreon backers, Vala B, Alan Weinstein, Negro Buck, Alex McCarthy, Professor Chris, Austin K, Robert, Steve, 5th Generation Carney, Ladarius, John, Dan, Kobe, Dolores, John Martin, DJ Eric, Marcus Ryan, James, Alan, Santo, Queen Mone, Christopher and Victoria Kid, and Nick Tim. Thank you so much for supporting us over at patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content and the Tru Heel Heat Prediction Championship. So go over and check it out. And that is the best way to show your support when we are not live here on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. But let's get into what we miss. And yes, we're going to start off with AEW Dynamite Big Business this past Wednesday, Boston, Massachusetts, TD Garden. Over 9,000 in attendance. And of course, the show featured the long-awaited debut of the former Sasha Banks, aka Mercedes Mone, in AEW. And they did it big for her. Mone got the first segment of the show in a similar fashion to CM Punk's The First Dance. She got the basically like an intro with a Mercedes coming up to the building and the door opening before she did her proper entrance. A new theme song with like the Gunther kind of theme to it, remix with CEO chants. And all it took is the second round of CEOs for that Boston crowd to start chanting that. We had passionate, emotional, babyface mission statement style promo from Mercedes Mone talking about her journey to AEW. She also hyped the main event between Willow Nightingale and Riho, as well as her history with Riho. This all led to our main event matchup where Riho and Willow had center stage. And boy, oh boy, did I feel like these two women delivered one hell of a sprint of David versus Goliath style sprint, but the Boston crowd was kind of split down the middle. middle with people chanting for Riho and Willow. In the end, Nightingale gets the win on Riho. And then after the match, TBS champion Julia Hart and Sky Blue come out and jump Nightingale. Apparently, they had jumped Chris Statlander in the back, which led to Mercedes Mone, who did a legit Super Bowl halftime show style costume change for a goddamn run-in. I got text by Jimmy Macaram like she's Michael Jackson. That was word for word what Jimmy Macaram messaged me during this whole segment. I would say we were arguing and debating during the show. I was like, is this like the same presentation as Punk in the First Dance? But then after this final segment, Jimmy Macaram was like, no, this would be like if the First Dance started how it did and then ended with Punk coming out, beating up Matt and Nick Jackson, and then having Hangman raise his hand and get the fuck out of my ring. Mercedes gets her hand raised as she makes the save for Willow, and then Willow gives her the ring as she dances, and the show closes with Boston thunderous CEO chants. What an epic ending to Big Business. You also had Samoa Joe beat Wardlow in a solid hoss fight to retain the AEW world title. Post-match, Swerve Strickland came out with a steel chain to get revenge on Joe, who bailed and then kicked the security guard off the stage, which was hilarious. The show is awesome at comedy. Also, someone who's awesome at things that seemingly people didn't know he was awesome at. Will Ospreay cuts yet another excellent promo discussing his dream match with Bryan Danielson at AEW Dynasty. I am the feeling, bruv. We also had the Elites, Kashika Okada and the Young Bucks defeated Eddie Kingston, Penta El Zero Miedo, and Pac in a awesome trios bout with Okada pinning Kingston to set up an AEW Continental Championship bout next week in Toronto. Speaking of next week, you had Jerihook or Lion Hook, whatever corny name they give them, Chris Jericho and Hook beat Gates of Agony. Post-match, though, Chris Jericho challenged Hook to a match next week in Toronto. And then finally, Switchblade Jay White defeated Darby Allin in a great matchup. Post-match, we got what we've been wanting for, as Switchblade put the gun to Darby Allin's head. They jumped Darby Allin. The Acclaim and Daddy Ass came out to stop them, which led to the dismemberment of the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it finally fucking happened. It's over. The long American nightmare is over, folks. As Switchblade Jay White laid out Daddy Ass, they laid out the Acclaim, and then they broke the ankle or foot. We'll get to that in a little bit here, of Darby Allin in a fabulous angle that reestablishes Bullet Club Gold as a heel faction. Scott E., what did you think about everything that went down at Big Business? A lot to discuss from the show.
It was a very good show that accomplished a lot. And maybe the most important thing is Lion Hook isn't in the tag tournament, but that, that's fine.
Neither is the Blackpool Combat Club, who beat FTR in North Carolina.
That was my big problem with it too. But talking about the rest of the show, I don't have to worry about Wardlow anymore and the Undisputed Kingdom. I don't got to worry about the Bang Bang Scissor Gang anymore. They're righting a lot of wrongs. Now it's just Jericho we need to write. And I thought, obviously, the Mercedes stuff was just phenomenal. Like, everything she did was perfect. It was the mission statement, like you said, of connecting with the crowd by sharing her story, that it's been a long time since we've heard, the reason she does this and what she wants to be. And, she wants to be the greatest. And that has never changed with her. She's always said, I want to be the greatest ever. And there are some matchups here and potential matchups through other relationships that I think are going to get her there. If she's not already there, I already think she's the greatest women's wrestler in North American history. And I've thought about that for at least 2 years. Like, I just think she's everything that a superstar is supposed to be. Like, when she shows up, it feels big. You can't say that about everyone. And I think, AEW has made 3 signings in the past few months that has that feeling.
Yeah.
And obviously, I thought the Ospreay promo was one of the best promos of his career. He proved something to a lot of people, and that was that he could cut that promo on American TV, without cursing a few times, which he was very worried about. And I was like, I get that, man. I understand that feeling. I don't know. It's just a home run. Like everything AEW is doing for the most part right now is just fantastic. This is the most interested I've ever been in this company, which is pretty great because at the end of last year, it was the least interested I had ever been in the company. So, MJF, just stay home.
Oh, come on. Don't you
What?
do that. Don't you do that,
No.
sir. There is a place for MJF here. There is a place for MJF.
Rampage.
No, it's
No.
not Rampage. Will
Oh,
you stop?
man.
This man is ridiculous. Don't
Him
listen to this
and
man.
the Undisputed
Slander
Kingdom
of
can
a
feud on
great
Rampage.
New Yorker. He's
well,
a great New Yorker.
Well, they signed a Bostonian who's better, so
I mean,
you can't fight that one.
I mean, we didn't discuss though. 800,000 viewers for the show.
Not for her though.
A 0.27. She did a 1 million viewers, but that's not even the highest opening segment for Dynamite. She needs to thank good old boy Sheldon for that. So I gotta ask. It's in the. No, Sheldon from fucking Big Bang Theory. Big Bang Theory is the lead-in for Dynamite. That's why the opening segment does that, because people stay on after Big Bang Theory. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And
apparently the crew isn't good at listening to her promos, because she made it very clear she was going to be back out for the main event. So there's no reason why Willow and Riho did 650,000 viewers. The only reason I do have is that I said it on AE Ramble. I thought that they should have done another backstage segment with like Mercedes interacting with Willow or interacting with Statlander and Stokely at the top of the 9 o'clock hour, because there was a boost from Darby and Jay White. Darby and Jay White almost got up to 800,000 after kind of the segments after Mercedes dropped. They brought it back up. If you put a segment there, at least 800,000 will come out for the main event, but they didn't do that. There was a lot of mistakes as far as the advertising and the promotion of this. Yeah. Krssi, you were there live. What was kind of the feeling? Was it kind of the majority of the feeling in the building was people knew that Mercedes was going to be there? And what did you think about kind of coming out of it now a couple of days removed from the show about the promotion of Mercedes? Did they do enough to let people know she was going to be on the show?
A lot of people definitely knew that she was coming, especially she was trolling a lot on her social media. She showed Boston, like, I'm home. She showed a lot of like videos or whatever, like not a lot, but she showed like, where she used to work at and like the Boston Harbor. So we knew that she was coming. We didn't know how we was all debating, like, will she open up? Will she come in the middle? Will she come at the end? And, she rightfully came at the beginning, which was great. Like, it was really, really cool to see. We were all there and they're telling us to get ready. They're counting us down as you do at any show. So we didn't like see her like walking into the building. We just seen her like the music just popped. And that's when we figured out who she was. Because at first it just showed like the amplifiers of like the music. And then we're like, okay, what's happening? Then it put like CEO and then it put her name. And that's when everyone pops. So it was great. She looked like money. First of all, for me, can I just say I got to see Jay White, Will Ospreay, and Mercedes all in one day. I was on like cloud freaking 9. Like, please let me see them. Can I at least just touch them? But it's okay. I didn't get to do that. But I got to see them and I was like, oh my God, like I died and went to heaven. It's okay. I don't have to go to any other AEW show no more because I've seen them all in person. It's all good. Going back, watching the show, it was a really good show. I was really disappointed to hear that the numbers had dropped. Yes, I believe that they should have made more promotion and more production to go and have more viewership to boost up their viewership. I think they dropped.
I thought that they should have made it more obvious.
Yes,
more obvious. You only got the most obvious thing that they did was the Serena D promo of I'm the final boss and I'm challenging anybody in AEW. But they didn't do. You don't have the Darby Allin anyone can come to the first dance, including the best in the world. There was not like that type of lie,
right?
To give the clear hint. And I felt like if you're gonna do the same CM Punk presentation, then you gotta give the clear hints.
You gotta make people more, because then they would have been more in tune, and then they could have like you said, they could have maybe had her more backstage. Like, even she don't even have to see like Riho or like, you know, Statland. She could have seen the other girls. Like, she could have seen Ruby and Saraya. Saraya. Like, they could have been like, "Hey girl, what you doing here? What's going on? Welcome, blah blah blah." You know, stuff like that. And then, you know, have her come out, you know, do the stuff with Willow, whatever. But I mean, it was great. I enjoyed the show from beginning to end. I enjoyed the whole thing. It went by so fast for me. I feel like this is the first time a Dynamite show went by so fast.
Yeah, I'm emphasizing. I'm really kind of nitpicking here, because I feel like everything they did from 8 o'clock to 10:07, whenever the show ended, was perfect.
Yeah,
it's everything that they did, you know, before the show that I'm questioning now. Of like, I'll ask you, Scott, you're a big Mercedes fan. Do you think that the CM Punk first dance approach was the right approach with this?
No, she's not coming back after 10 years away from pro wrestling. She's been gone for what, 9 months technically. I know not everyone's watching New Japan, but she's been gone for 9 months, and she's gonna get the pop no matter what.
That's true. True.
There's no reason to do the Paul Heyman ECW surprise to just do surprises. You know, it's like,
okay.
That's just my opinion on it, especially
no,
because
I 100% agree with you. I was like, that it's too. That's why I nodded like that, because it's two different things. It's a guy that was gone that became like a fucking urban legend, a martyr for professional wrestling fans, and it's a woman who walked out of the company, showed up in New Japan, was there for a little bit, got injured, already showed her face in the crowd here, and now she's got, it's like, yo, like, just say it. Just announce it at this point.
Yeah. And she's so well known that it's like, how many more viewers could you have gotten if you announced her? That's the question that I'm going to ask myself more and more, because that's how big of a star she is. And like you said, this is nitpicking. Like, do I really care about viewership all that much? No, not really. But I want this incredible roster that is unbelievably talented to get the full appreciation, and part of that is getting people in the door at the beginning of the show and hopefully keeping them. Also, following with Wardlow, you know,
I thought the formatting was excellent on this show, because I don't say, oh, Wardlow followed her. I said Samoa Joe in an AEW World Title match followed her. That's a draw. And I thought that would be a draw, but it dropped completely.
Everything drops up for Darby and Jay, right?
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, the Elite, it was even like, I think the third lowest quarter, and I think that they're like my favorite act right now in AEW. So
it'll take time.
Yeah,
you know, like,
it is.
We're gonna see the ratings go up more and more and more as weeks go on.
She's already in the introduction package and in the commercial packages now. Like, she's already
on everything.
They had her front row at the Boston Celtics game against the Phoenix Suns.
Yep, I saw that. Yep, they seen her there too. Yep, they like the new AEW star. She's back now. I was like, oh, this is okay. This is cute. Okay, I see what they're doing.
Yeah. Honestly, I would say, like I said on AE Ramble, I was like, there was two kind of things that I say, like, I feel like the debut was a 9 out of 10. And we asked the question on AE Ramble, was it the best AEW debut? I said it was CEO Punk on steroids. It felt like the CM Punk first dance on steroids, but the work before that wasn't that well done. So I don't feel like it was as effective as the CM Punk debut. So it's not the best AEW debut. And I gave it a 9 out of 10 because I was like, there's slight nitpicks. Like, honestly, if I have the pen, I would love to give her, the opening mission statement. But right at the end, when she's dancing and shit, boom, the doctor will see you now. Get a program out there. Get people interested. And there's only one other woman in AEW history that has had a show booked around her outside of Mercedes Monet, and it's Britt Baker in Pittsburgh. Anytime they're in Pittsburgh, they book the show around her. She's the only other major star that you could immediately put in there, and that's going to draw interest. And maybe some casual viewers will be like, "Oh, that's Britt, the one that was in the bloody face match with Thunder Rosa. Let me see what she's doing with Mercedes Monet." I feel like you kind of had to kind of grab people immediately into what Mercedes was doing. And then if you're not going to do that, though, in the first segment, I understand she's in Boston. She's gonna get cheered anyway.
Right.
She should have laid out Willow. She should have laid out Willow too. We should establish that she's Austin.
I thought the same.
She will lay out everybody.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought once she raised her hand, she's gonna turn and then she was gonna kick her. I think that would have been the better thing to do, get more heat.
Because that's Mercedes. That's not
Right.
like her getting the hand raised and then letting her go. That's not Mercedes. That felt like I was seeing Mercedes Vernado, not Mercedes Monet. Like I wanted to see the Sasha Banks, the boss, the CEO, lay her out, and then like, who cares? Who cares about the consequences?
Right.
She's the CEO, and she still would have got cheered, and you still could have finished the show with her CEO. She wouldn't have got booed, even though it's on Willow.
No. Right, exactly. You're absolutely right. I think they're gonna learn. Like, this is the biggest women's star this company has had by a lot. It's not even like just biggest. No, it's by a lot. And that's not a shot at anyone in the division. That is praise for Mercedes Monet.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just having her on everything. Like, they already have done it, right? She's on the front and center on All In poster. She's doing all the ads. Just keep doing that, because the more you get her out there now, hopefully the more people are interested, right? Because a lot of people, I'm sure, since she left WWE, had no idea what she's been doing besides the Mandalorian, right? Like, that's probably it. They probably had no idea she went to Japan, and because there's just fans that don't know about that. So if you can get her face out there and be like, she's here now, you never know. Maybe that brings over a few more people, and ultimately that's the goal here, right? It's not a race, it's a marathon. It's long term, and I think they're gonna figure that out. Now they chose this way to introduce her, right? That's in the past now. We can critique that all we want, but now it's about what you do to continue to push her, continue to push your product, and bring new eyes to the product. And I think that's hopefully what she's going to accomplish. I think she's going to go down. Well, I know she's going to go down as one of the biggest signings in AEW history, but she could be one of the most important if it all goes right, because I just think that's her star power.
Yeah, I think that to answer the question that we put in the air, the impact is that I think that long term she's gonna make the women's division a viable draw for AEW. I don't know if it's going to be immediate on the TV rating side, because I feel like that's going to take a whole bunch of time and consistency with the last couple of shows that we've been feeling since Revolution. They've been on a roll, but they got to keep that up for like a few months for that to have any difference in the ratings and retain viewership, for if you're just going to get like a stockpile of Mercedes Monet fans that are watching stuff, they may just come in for her stuff. But if you're consistently putting out good shows, they'll eventually start to stay and be like, oh, now I like Will Ospreay. Now I like Katsuhiko Okada. Now I like this person. So it's going to take time. We got a super chat donation from the Negro Buck, Nick Jackson. Thank you so much, Negro Buck. He says, for Jay White inadvertently saving Darby's life, truly the catalyst of pro wrestling when he's not even trying. That is one of our news notes. I mean, you paid for the super chat, so we might as well just go ahead and talk about that, because Darby Allin, yes, was injured in his matchup with Switchblade Jay White on AEW Dynamite Big Business, and he now won't be able to climb Mount Everest this year after suffering a broken foot in his matchup. Allin posted to his Twitter account to note that he suffered the broken foot at Big Business, confirming an initial report from TMZ that came out yesterday afternoon that said that he suffered a broken foot at Big Business and confirmed it. And it was done in like the opening minute of the matchup. He did it on a front flip off the top rope. He notes that he broke his foot, 3 bones in his foot, and the AEW star was scheduled to begin his Mount Everest climb on March 27th, but will not be able to do it. He says, unfortunately,
sat down some damn place, man. You know you was going to go to Mount Everest, and it's just dumb, man. I'm sorry.
Darby wrote, unfortunately, the foots really broke from Wednesday's match. Everest will have to be next year. Allin was attacked by the Guns and Switchblade Jay White after the matchup to write him off TV. Ironically, the angle storyline involved a storyline broken ankle. On behalf of Tru Heel Heat, our best wishes to Darby and a speedy recovery.
You know how much money was probably paid? That trip was probably paid for, yo. Did he get insurance on that? Like, can you get your money back on that? Or can you postpone it till next year? Like, damn it, Darby. I know his wife is pissed.
Hey, Switchblade Jay White saved Darby Allin, ladies and gentlemen. This man was gonna die. He was there was a likelihood. There was a percentage. I don't know how high it was, but it was somewhere between 20 and 50% chance he may have died trying to climb Mount Everest. Switchblade Jay White is a hero. We need to have a parade. He needs to get a key to the city, a key to AEW. Switchblade Jay White, the catalyst of professional wrestling, a savior. He is the Jesus Christ of professional wrestling.
I would go see him get his key to the city, so I'm not going to be mad at that. So, yeah.
Key to the city of Boston. How do you feel about that, Scott?
Sure. Why not? I feel like there's other people that would probably get that before him on the roster. There was this person called CEO from the beginning of the show, but you know what?
Hey, she didn't save anybody.
No,
save anybody's life.
Did.
Save anybody's life.
You don't. Oh no, but you don't know what Julia Hart was gonna do. You don't know.
You don't know. She was just gonna spit some phlegm in her eye or something like that. I don't know.
See, that's that. I'd give Key to the City for someone saving me from that. That's nasty.
Geez.
That's nasty.
Okay, you rather them save you from that than save you from climbing Mount Everest.
Oh, buddy, I would never sign up to climb Mount Everest. That's the secret.
Yeah, you can pay. Yeah.
He said, "Eureka! I got a loophole."
Yeah, no, I would save myself before
going to Mount Everest.
No, thank you. No, thank you. I will say with Darby, I think the interesting thing is like embracing a push with him is going to be interesting over this next year, whenever he comes back, obviously. But like, there's a time limit almost. Like, all right, we can push you until this moment, and then you kind of like, we got to take whatever we have on you at that time because like SP3 said, you might die. Like, what a weird world we live in with this Darby Allin fella. And he's going to do it. That's the thing. Like, he's going to do it as long as, he doesn't get hurt, right? He's going to try.
If he didn't do it, I wouldn't be surprised in the next year he was AEW World Champion.
Yeah,
but because of that, I think that will stop Tony from thinking about doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
Unfortunate. We got another super chat donation from Chuck Berries. Chuck Berry says, how long do you give Mercedes to win the TBS title? It did feel like the stare down with Julia was to do that. And I think that we've already reached the peak of the Julia Hart TBS title run. So
I'm about to say the same thing. It's time for it to be over now. Time for a new one. She's done 3 months maybe.
Her injury really hurt her run. Like, she was on a
Yeah,
roll. When she
yeah,
won the title, she was on the ascent. She didn't have the best match with like Abaddon at AEW World's End, but she gets injured right after that, and it's
yeah.
like she hasn't been able to get momentum. But putting her in there with Mercedes Moné, she's probably gonna have the best match of her career. And then
Mhm.
you could put the title on Mercedes, and she can have all the dream matches with whoever on the roster she wants, with Willow or Serena Deeb,
Yeah,
Chris
yeah.
Statlander. That could be the reason
It's
why Chris
so
Statlander
many.
finally turns heel. So yeah, there's a couple of directions they can go if they want to keep her out of the world title scene just for now, because it seems like the Toni Storm Mariah May story is the AEW women's world title story.
Yeah. Which is fine.
Yeah. Well, if it means as a Mariah May fan, I mean, if it means she finally gets the title, I'm okay with that. I was thinking in my head, like, why is she winning the TBS title? And I was like, oh, right. Because like all the both companies that have had her in the past year want to give her
Mhm.
secondary titles. Mercedes, and it's like, just give her the world title. But I get it. There's a story in place that has been in place.
Mhm.
That's fine. I don't want to, you don't want to necessarily throw out plans. But I just want her as champion.
I want her to
Mercedes as
interact with
champion.
other ladies first, like
Mhm.
go through the locker room and go through, just how you spoke to Riho and right before her match. Like, speak to the ladies, go and have an encounter with Saraya and Ruby. Like, it's so many people that she can go through the locker room and talk to the girls and like kind of like, hey, or like give like, I'm the new CEO in town. Chat with me if you want to, stuff like that. Or come to my office, stupidness. I feel like it had like make it obnoxious, like make her a good.
I need the confrontation between the CEO and the EVPs.
I was
That's
gonna
what
say I need that in Okada because
I like that though. Make them all obnoxious and stupid. It's so good that it works. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
yeah.
We got big
Matthews is doing some dumbness on the side. Like,
we got
you know who I am? Like, sorry.
we got Big Red Dogs. It says AEW's in an uphill battle since they have conditioned fans to not care about women's division for years. Tony will have to overperform with the booking. I don't agree with that statement.
No.
I don't think, because we have the antithesis of, if you make it important, instantly the fans will think it's important with WWE. And anytime AEW has put any type of effort into the women's division, the
Mhm.
fans have ate it up.
Yeah.
Riho and Nyla Rose, Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, the stuff with Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter. Like, fans were begging y'all to do
No, we
Jamie
did
Hayter and
Athena.
Britt Baker. Like, it's not the fans have been conditioned not to care. The fans
Right.
do care. It
Mhm.
just seemed for a very long time that Tony didn't, and a lot of fans started to not care, or started to realize that Tony didn't care, and started to give up on Tony, not the women's division. But now it's been like, it hasn't just been, oh, Mercedes signed with the company, let's do it. It was
Right.
before
No.
January
Mhm.
that they did the work. This work has started from All Out last year all the way to now, to a steady progression where now we have more women's segment. Now we have more women's matches on the show. I think that we have to identify that. And that's why I've been screaming from the mountaintop about, like, guys, pay attention. They have been trying, because and the reason why I've been pointing it out and been screaming to the mountaintop about this since All Out is because I was in Chicago All Out weekend, and I was at a hotel where Tony Khan was at, where I talked to somebody from AEW who had that type of apathy of, just seems like he doesn't care. Like that's what I got told by someone that works there. It just seems like he doesn't care. So when I started to see that, oh shit, that looks
He's
like he
starting to
cares.
change. Yeah.
I was the one. I was like, I'm gonna do my best to kind of say this, because a lot of y'all not gonna pay attention, and it seems like it's still going on. That y'all don't pay attention to this shit. We got a super chat donation from Alexander Fitzgerald. Thank you, Alexander. We appreciate you so much. He says all the crazy bumps Darby does, and he just gets a broken foot. That is very ironic.
You know what? That sounds about right. He could have killed himself with glass, but he hindered himself doing something, and he broke his foot. Great job, Darby.
Yeah, great job. But more on Mercedes with the fallout from her signing. A new report has some details on Mercedes Moné's AEW signing and when the deal took place. This news has been the worst kept secret in wrestling for a while. Fightful Select reports that according to sources, Moné has been on the AEW payroll for over 2 months. According to the report, some sources said they believe the deal was essentially agreed to back in December when she registered several trademarks for her name. The deal is believed to be a multi-year contract, but that has not been confirmed. The reports note that New Japan Pro Wrestling expect to be factored into the deal, and officials were under the belief as of January that they would be able to continue working with Mone. Sources in NJPW said that they hoped the company could pick up right where they left off when she was injured in May, but that AEW would be her priority now. It's added that two sources, Moné's injury she suffered in May required 2 surgeries, and that she made it clear she wasn't ready to return to the ring when she was negotiating other potential deals. She recently said in an interview she was told that her injury was career ending. But despite, like we said earlier, disappointing overall numbers for Dynamite, Mercedes Moné did debut, draw 1 million viewers for the opening segment of AEW Big Business and a 3.2 rating in the 18 to 49 key demo. The Wrestling Observer newsletter had an update on how much Mercedes could be earning in the company. When she negotiated with WWE in late 2022, 2023, she wanted more money than the company was offering. There were reports at the time that they said she was looking to get paid Becky Lynch level money. It's unknown what AEW's offer was, except that it was higher than WWE. It is, however, considerably lower than the $5 million that has been reported online. There's even been fake reports online of $10 million. A female star in WWE noted that they heard it was enough to make Moné the highest paid woman in professional wrestling today. They said that they were happy for her and that AEW made the offer and she accepted, as it will mean more for other women's wrestlers. They added, I think it sets a standard that women should be paid too. The women do great numbers and have great social followings, a huge deal for women in the industry who are paid a lot less than the men. Mercedes Moné recently weighed in on trying to find her way after she left WWE. She said on her time between WWE and joining AEW, she said, I mean, first is just finding a team. Finding people that I can go to for help because I felt so lost, so broken, so hurt, and so confused. Not knowing where I fit in this world, especially in the world of wrestling. That gave me so much hope, gave me so many dreams, gave me so many opportunities. I felt very lost and confused and unsure, and it hurt me because of how much work I put into being in wrestling and all my dreams into it. It just felt like it was taken away from me and just kind of came crumbling down. She said on finding herself, it took a little bit of healing, a lot of healing, but my team to really help build me back up and to have my back, to let me know I am more than a boss. I am a CEO because I took control of my whole life. I walked out with my head held high, and I found so many new passions that I never got to discover before. Wrestling has always been my one and only, my everything. To be a 30-year-old back then and now 32, to grow and understand that there's so much more than this. Wrestling is so much more. It's beautiful. She also spoke with Sports Illustrated, Justin Barrasso, about her arrival in AEW, and she said, I want to be here. I need to be here. And it's because of the women's division. The women here laid the foundation. They're the reason I want to be in AEW. We're going to make so much magic here. This is a global revolution. On opening the show, she said, fuck yeah, I needed to open the show. All day, I was so full of energy. 10 minutes before the show, I was in Gorilla. I could feel the energy in the building. When my music hit, I felt the energy, and I knew I was home.
That's great.
I mean, she's definitely going to be the highest paid woman in AEW. Do you think now, though, Mercedes Moné is making more than Becky Lynch? Scott, what's your feeling?
For my enjoyment, yes. And not because I don't like Becky or something. I love both of them. But I think Mercedes has been like ready to be the highest paid woman in professional wrestling. You know, it's like it's been time and time and time, and WWE somehow, after all the years of being a top draw, right? Like there's so many SmackDowns if you go back to, especially during the pandemic era, where she was the top draw and they just somehow didn't see it because she wasn't Charlotte, and it annoyed me to no end. And now she's finally, like, it feels like she finally gets to, you know, just be in control and be the top star. And maybe that's in the paycheck as well as on TV. And she's absolutely right. Her getting the big contract means that others will get big contracts. That's just how this works. You know, it sets a precedent. And I don't know how you're not excited for what she wants to accomplish after all the words she said this week. You know, it's just like she's determined, and there's nothing better than a determined Mercedes Mone. I saw it last year. I'm going to see it this year. It's just different. It's just different. It's so exciting.
This roster and these free agents, I've been trying to figure out what sports analogy it's comparable to. Mercedes Moné is Kevin Durant coming to the Golden State Warriors, and the Splash Brothers are Will Ospreay and Kashiko Okada, because they've been the Splash Brothers as far as giving us match of the year candidates.
Right,
So
they've been doing this already. Yeah.
They hit threes like they have match of the years like Steph and Clay hit threes, and then the missing piece to make this a complete, like a real powerhouse, a super team, is Kevin Durant. That's Mercedes Moné. And now this feels like the three signings different from the 2021. 2021 were bigger stars, definitely. CM Punk after 7 years away, Bryan Danielson, who leaves WWE from a main event spot to come over here, and Adam Cole, who could have gotten a big time spot. We don't know, depending on the reports, but was the top guy of one of their brands, comes over. Those are bigger stars, but when you look at it 3 years later, you got a guy that was here for about a year and caused a lot of problems. You got a guy that's been injured a lot of his time in the past 3 years since he got signed. And then you got Bryan Danielson. Like that, Bryan Danielson has been the one that's been like, okay, that was a good signing. That's paid off. That we got a lot out of that one. I don't think we've gotten enough out of Adam Cole because of the injuries, and we definitely didn't get enough out of Punk because of everything.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
It feels like the signings that they're signing them and they're like, these are the three people we're building around for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
These are our face of our companies. These are the people that's going to elevate this brand.
I think there's an argument to be said that AEW got their new top heel, their new top babyface, and the face of their women's division. That's the three signings they made, and that's incredible. You know, like, you're seeing it, like the reactions they get in the building. It's gonna catch on. It's not immediate in terms of viewership, but it's going to catch on. And when it does, this product is going to feel hot in terms of the ratings, like, we know it's hot. You know, you watched the show this past week. It's a hot product. It's exciting. But, you know, the boring stuff needs to catch up. That's what I'll call it. But yeah,
I think get rid of it or put it on Rampage and Collision or something. I don't, or just Rampage, not Collision. I actually like
Collision.
Yeah, I like Collision.
Collision, as I like to say, is for the sickos like me.
Yeah. Collision, I've been saying Collision is 2000 SmackDown.
Yeah, there you go. That's perfect. Yeah.
It's not like necessary viewing if you're watching WWF at that time, but it's a fun show to watch because it just feels a lot looser than the main show.
It's a wrestling show, like, legitimately, like a pro. Like, it's there to watch some cool matches, and it's an easy 2 hours. You don't have to watch everything necessarily. Easy.
And it seems like every other week we get a Bryan Danielson matchup that's like, you sick freak, Tony Khan. Bryan Danielson and Katsuyori Shibata tonight out of nowhere. No
reason why. Yeah, just giving it to us. Sure.
That's
Daniel said, "I'm going to go out with a bang. This is like it's supposed to be like my last few years. I'm going out and I'm going to do everything that I wanted to do that they wouldn't let me do over there."
He's wasting no time. Like
None.
when you look at his
Not
resume
retire.
for 2024, he's already a Wrestler of the Year candidate for 2024 already.
I wouldn't even be mad if he won, because again, he said I'm on a time frame and I got to go. So this is what I need to do in that time frame.
I wanted to bring up something I didn't have on the agenda here since we finished talking about Mercedes Mone. Along with Mercedes Mone, that wasn't the only person that was there at the at AEW Big Business backstage. Torio Okada, the new president of Stardom, was there at the building, took a very notable picture with Tony Khan. And one of my favorites that Scott knows from our talks of Stardom had a matchup on the Ring of Honor taping. Yes, Mina Shirakawa of Stardom was on the Ring of Honor taping, had a matchup and got a win over Anna Jay. Spoiler alert for y'all don't watch ROH. But yeah, that happened. Apparently Mina Shirakawa and Azumi are going to be used on AEW and ROH when they're over here for Windy City Riot and after, WrestleMania weekend. So Scott, what do you think about the potential of Stardom being the big addition to put some juice behind Forbidden Door this year? Because the juice is out. They have run out of all juice. There's no water. There's no milk. There's no liquid in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
I've been saying for a long time it's going to happen. It was always going to happen, and I understand what has happened the past couple months. People are going to get their jokes off. People are going to say what they want to say. It always had to happen, because once there was a belief that Stardom should start going to America, which there wasn't behind the previous president, Harada, people forget this guy was a big problem. Once they went to America, I was like, all right, the doors are now open, right? They didn't really go to America the past couple of years. And the one time that a wrestler did, Utami, she was on Ring of Honor, and it was always going to happen. My favorite part about this, though, is of all the days for Taro Okada to go over and have a meeting with Tony Khan, is the day Mercedes Mone is walking in the door. I saw that, I was like, man, she has more power than we're ready for. And like some people mocked me, like, oh yeah, Mercedes did. I was like, I didn't see Tony Khan having this conversation before that.
Nope.
Like it wasn't happening. So like Mercedes,
I don't think he was there in the works to do all this stuff. I don't think he had the willpower to like show like this is what he can do.
Exactly. Like Mercedes wants to wrestle the best of the best. And now she can do that in AEW. Now she's probably going to be able to do that with Stardom. This is the dream scenario, folks. It's the best of both worlds, at least for me. I mean, maybe not for everyone, but for me it is. And it was, like I said, it was always going to happen. And, they brought the right person over, I think, to introduce Stardom, and that's Mina on Ring. It's just Ring of Honor, but it's still happening. And she won. Spoiler alert for the Ring of Honor fans out there. And they're probably going to be on Super Card of Honor.
Yep.
At least those two, Mina and Azumi, which is good. That's good. They should be. I don't know what the hell they're going to do. Maybe a Stardom showcase match. I think that would be a good idea.
That would give us 3 women's matches on the Super Card of Honor card.
I'm not going to say no to that. I don't know many people that would say no to that. That sounds great.
The ROH pay-per-view is next month, so she might can do something on there. I wouldn't be mad at that.
We'll talk about
it's not like the match needs a story. It's not like it needs a story. Most of that card is not going to have a story.
No,
it's going to be cool.
All you need is like one promo, one little angle to set up Ring of Honor pay-per-view matches. It seems.
And look at that, Mina was on Ring of Honor. You got it done. But I think this is great, and it's exactly what Forbidden Door needs, because listen. The fact of the matter is, Forbidden Door, this show is not about AEW and New Japan anymore. You know why? Because AEW has the New Japan part that people were interested in now.
Yep, they're there.
It's literally
Naito and Shingo.
It's 3 guys. It's Naito, Shingo, and Zack. That's it.
Yeah,
that's all the people. That's all the people we're gonna care. And maybe through this New Japan Cup from outside of the dark cloud that everybody seems to be distracted by. On the low, Tsuji is gaining momentum. So hopefully
Yeah,
they can get
yeah.
Tsuji to a certain point by Forbidden Door too.
Yeah, they needed more involvement. Forbidden Door, I always thought, should be the biggest interpromotional show in wrestling, not
I
the
agree.
biggest AEW, New Japan. No, everyone that works within this relationship, it should be that show. It's why Stardom has been brought up the past couple of years. It's why the CMLL stuff is so exciting. It's like, okay, we're going to have one show with all this incredible talent, and it's going to be amazing. Yes, New Japan doesn't have as much incredible talent anymore, but they still got some people. They got a couple.
Oh, joy, we get House of Torture.
Oh my god. Well, that's actually going to be hilarious. House of Torture in the US.
Is that a bad thing?
Because it's never happened.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yujiro and someone was it Yujiro and show on Ring of Honor once or something.
So. Yeah.
The moment Evil steps into an American ring, oh no.
I can imagine the heat from American New Japan fans. Oh my god. It's gonna be great.
It is going to be great, and then almost that one moment will be not. It won't make.
You got me talking. I know you don't have too much time to spend with us today, Scott. You got me talking about New Japan and Stardom. So you want to hear me get upset a little bit? So
I'll hear you get upset. This will be my end because I love when SP3 gets angry.
We go to rant. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, no. There was actually some good stuff this week from New Japan. Mainly we're talking
Jack
about New
Perry guy.
Get me started. I'm gonna start from the beginning here. New Japan Pro Wrestling, New Japan Cup. You had day 4 featured Yota Tsuji defeating Jeff Cobb in an absolutely tremendous encounter. Probably the best match. No, not even probably. The best match of the tournament so far. These two guys went out there and had a heavyweight slugfest. Definitely worth going out of your way to see. Ren Narita beat Taichi.
That one. That's the one that made me angry. I wasn't even mad about the second Ren Narita one.
I woke up to this. I woke up to this, Scott, because I woke up to watch Cobb and Tsuji and had to wake up to this fucking shit. And I was like, why does the New Japan wrestling gods hate me? Why do they hate me? Why do I have to wake up to the worst match of the tournament just to get to the best match of the tournament?
Did you not watch Chase Owens match?
No, I actually stopped watching after the.
That's good taste. Finally, yes.
After the Ishii match, I was like, okay, that was the peak. I'm not gonna watch any of Chase's other matches. We had
Look at that trio. Look at that trio.
We also had ELP El Phantasmo. He got the win over Mikey Nichols on day 4. Day 5. Oh my god, this was an awful fucking matchup. Jack Perry beating Toriano. He needed fucking help to beat Toriano. What the fuck are we doing?
Hey man, Toriano beat John Moxley, buddy.
Sanada beat Yoshihashi in the main event.
Shout out Yoshihashi, baby.
Day 6, David Finlay defeated Tonga Loa, who has to be trolling us with how bad he's been wrestling. He has to be trolling us.
It's pretty funny.
Because he's been wrestling in slow motion. And Kenny Omega even if you've seen his Kamagoye, it's the funniest thing ever.
He's really bad.
You also had Hiroki Goto beating Chase Owens.
Speaking of really bad,
in a main event match. In a fucking main event, ladies and gentlemen. Evil beat Hikuleo. Don't even have a picture for that. Good. And Shingo Takagi defeated Gate Kick. This was a banger. I watched this morning. Very hard hitting, never open weight, strong style type of matchup. Going out of your way to see as well. And then the worst decision.
Yeah.
Fucking cup. Ren Narita defeated Zack Sabre Jr.
What?
After Zack beat Brian fucking Danielson,
no,
he loses to Ren Narita with the help of, guess what? It's the most riveting and new finish that they got. Oh yeah, no, it's not. He got help from House of Torture. Yota Tsuji. Yota Tsuji defeated El Phantasmo in another very good matchup to advance in the tournament as well. And
Are they in a gymnasium?
Before we go over what happened on Stardom Cinderella tournament, because I know Scott wants to put his 2 cents on that, I will very quickly go over the matches for the next round of the New Japan Cup tournament. 2 of the matches have already taken place this morning. You had Jack Perry. Well, 2 people advance. Jack Perry defeating Sonata in the rematch from Forbidden. Oh no, Jack Perry losing to Sonata in a rematch from Forbidden Door. Sonata now 2-0 versus Jack Perry. The House of Torture couldn't help him on that one. And Finlay was apparently injured, so he
he's ill.
Ill. He had an illness, and he wasn't able to compete against Hiroki Goto. So Hiroki Goto advances. So it's now Sonata versus Hiroki Goto in the final 4. We got Shingo versus Evil, Tsuji versus Narita tomorrow morning. Who you got, Scott?
Well, one House of Torture person is going to win.
Yes, I know. It's rather unfortunate.
I'm trying to decide which one do I prefer. You know what I do prefer? I would love Shingo and Tsuji won. I think that would be pretty awesome because they both rock and that match would be incredible.
I really wanted that match. I think we predicted that matchup on our New Japan Cup preview. Our brackets are completely ruined by the House of Torture.
David Finlay was my pick to win, and him losing via illness is tough go. He
definitely would have beaten Goto.
I mean, who doesn't beat Goto? Like Goto has a nice little New Japan Cup run.
He had one of the more interesting stories of the tournament with him saying that he wasn't going to cash in on the IWGP World Championship.
Yeah, what a moron. Oh yeah, I don't want to talk. I don't want to be world champion. All right, bud. Cool. Sounds good. I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh, who am I picking? I'm gonna go probably with Evil and Tsuji. I just can't see Ren Narita being in the semifinals of the New Japan Cup.
I think I'm sorry to say this, folks.
Are you hoping Shingo wins? Is that why?
No. Ren Narita's winning the New Japan Cup, folks.
Oh baby.
I like there's everything I've seen from this tournament is like screaming to me that we get Shingo beating Evil, Ren beats Tsuji with help from House of Torture, then Ren beats Shingo with help from House of Torture, and then Ren beats Sonata with help of House of Torture to set up Ren versus Naito, Shingo versus Evil for the Never Openweight Championship, Yo versus Sho for the Junior Heavyweight Championship, and yes, Sakura Genesis is gonna be booked around the House of fucking Torture.
The house always wins, baby.
I hate my life. New Japan is my favorite promotion. I hate my life.
Time to find a new promotion, buddy.
Yeah.
He
says I'm hate watching. How am I hate watching? I'm actually trying
painfully
to enjoy
watching,
this.
Actually,
painfully watching. We got Nicky Boy. He says he best Taichi and Sack ain't no fucking way. He says New Japan is cooked. Nicky Boy.
Yeah, Gato's been cooked for a long time, and now he has nothing to protect him anymore. The Okada protection's gone.
The Osprey protection is gone. The cloak of this is still New Japan is gone now.
Yep. It's New Japan Pro Wrestling featuring House of Torture now. That is the new name of the company.
So I want to ask you, Scott, because I ranted about this last week. I ranted about this last week. Does it annoy you as much as it annoys me when people bring up House of Torture finishing 4th place in a poll as a reason why we shouldn't be so mad about House of Torture? Because it pisses me the fuck off. I've ranted about it on multiple occasions. I have never heard people like yo, Like, oh, you're arguing. I'm a parent. Like, I'm arguing with somebody. Oh, my daughter won the spelling bee. Oh, well, my daughter won 4th place in the spelling bee. No, that doesn't happen. That does not happen. You don't brag about being 4th place in anything. That's not an indication that they're over in Japan. It's just not.
Cosmic Angels came first. Just saying.
That's worth bragging. First is worth bragging. Second,
first over LIJ.
And second would be
Very
worth bragging. LIJ should brag about second. We should not be bragging that House of Torture is 4th.
So with House of Torture, right? I have been under the belief for about a year now that not only is this old, because we've been doing it for 4 fucking years, but they should have had some sort of turn, some sort of difference. The change is not adding a new person to the madness that is this group. Change is changing the way they wrestle and the way their matches go. And listen, I understand you can't go by House of Torture and turn them babyface. I get that. Even though I do think that if they ever want to, Evil can be a big babyface because, you know, people do like, I think people want to like Evil, but, you know, there's no reason to. There's no reason to. Yeah, I mean, I've seen the 4th place thing. You know, like, oh, they came in 4th. Great. Happy for them. They beat faction I can't think of in
United Empire.
Yeah, congratulations. They beat United Empire. You know what? You know who also beat United Empire? Will Ospreay by himself. Like, you know, he said goodbye. I don't need you guys. He didn't really say that, but I mean, that was United Empire. Was Ospreay. No offense to everyone. You know, coming in 4th in a faction one, it really is about like the top 2.
Yeah.
In factions, especially in Japan, because the only companies that have true factions is Stardom and New Japan. So it's like, okay, this is what you're deciding between, and yeah, it's just annoying. Like, I am someone that doesn't have as much hatred for the House of Torture as everyone else, but when you do it 4 different ways in a tournament, it's too much. It's way too much.
This whole
is it copy and paste?
These shows have been saturated. Yeah, it's
not very creative
with House of Torture nonsense. And we got another Super Chisholm donation from the man himself. Welcome, Will Chisholm. Where you been? You missed like an hour of the show. Thanks for coming. And you have to come up when I'm probably blowing out my mic, getting upset about New Japan. He says, I need NJPW to do better. I hate to see SP3 blowing his mic out, but still, Jack Perry is in the 4th best faction. You know what you're doing, sir. You know what you're doing, and it's not nice. It's not nice. I'm sick of people telling me they're the 4th best faction. It's like a poll of like 2,000 people. It's not even a lot of people. Jesus, man. Japan got millions of people. They can't get more people to vote on this shit. But you mentioned Stardom. So to leave you off before we let you go, Scott, Stardom had their Cinderella tournament start. Day 1 featured a multi-woman main event matchup as EXV defeated Mayu Iwatani and Tam Nakano, as well as the Queen's Quest duo, Asaya Kamatani and Azumi, in a 3-way main event. Very good matchup, very fun main event. You also had one of my favorite women's matches of the damn year so far, Sarai and Hashimoto defeating the Cosmic Angels, Natsupoi and Sarianoi, in a brilliant tag team matchup. Natsupoi, man, she looked like she didn't miss a fucking beat. She was on the money in this matchup. So was Hashimoto, Sari, as well as Sarai. And then Sarai actually had made a challenge to Mayu Iwatani for the IWGP Women's Championship. Those two women will meet at All-Star Grand Queendom this year. But then you had day 2, which features Stephanie Becker becoming a Triple Crown champion as she defeated Julia to become the NJPW Strong Women's Champion. You also had Hanan pull off the biggest upset of the Cinderella tournament to that point in the first round, defeating Mirai. And then you also had elsewhere in the tournament, Starlight Kid defeating Suzu Suzuki in a fun sprint of a matchup in the Cinderella tournament. Scott, any thoughts on the start of the Cinderella tournament and Stephanie Becker being crowned? I know you're a big fan of her work.
Start of the tournament was great. They have a show today, they have a show tomorrow, and the finals are on Wednesday. We get right through this. Boom,
New Japan Cup. I know, New Japan Cup too. I had to look at that. I was like, oh shit, it's finished this week. Oh shit.
Yeah. Well, that thankfully for that one.
Yeah,
yes,
thankfully,
it's almost over.
I will admit, folks, I stopped watching and waking up for New Japan Cup when I woke up for Red Narita and Taichi. I was like, that's it. I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, not worth it.
You can watch it afterwards. It's okay.
Yeah, I was like, I watch it on demand. And I'll pick and choose what matches I want to watch now.
That's how I've always.
And don't
done
go on
it.
social
It's
media.
far less painful.
I go on social media. I don't care if it's spoiled for me. That's better for me because I won't match the match if it's spoiled. So
got it. Okay, got it.
I think Stephanie Becker was the perfect pick to be the new strong women's champion. I think she is obviously super talented and has really made a name for herself over the past year. I'd say, the Mercedes Mone match obviously put a lot of eyes on her. And then she had the very good match with Mayu at the end of last year. And now this feels like her chance to all right, it's my turn to start winning and defending. And I think she's the perfect gap between the CMLL, New Japan Strong, Stardom realm, and she, beating Julia, obviously, after the long reign she had, it's an accomplishment for her too. And I'm just happy that I don't have to see this purple belt anymore in Stardom. I couldn't stand this belt. I did not want this here. It was it's the Mercedes Mone belt that she never got to win. So everyone just got stuck with it.
Got it.
So when do you think they do Stephanie Becker and Mercedes Mone? Since we read the report that New Japan is making plans to work with Mercedes again.
Hopefully as soon as possible because it's gonna be awesome.
They rocked that resurgence, man.
They did, and that was the opening tournament match. Imagine now that they're in a title match.
Yeah,
it's gonna be great. But very good weekend for Stardom. Stardom's doing very well right now. Obviously, the end of March is coming. Yes, Fire Gato. That is correct. The end of March is coming, so things are about to change a little more. But it's a good time to get into it because the big show is coming next month. Top 2 faction in New Japan. They're one of the two factions that have leaders.
The top heel faction. They're the top heel faction. I don't know.
To be fair, with New Japan, just think about this in their factions, right? Bullet Club War Dogs is in this weird spot right now where
they don't know if they want to pay them.
Right, where there's a lot of uncertainty. United Empire doesn't have a leader. Chaos doesn't have a leader.
Guerrillas of Destiny don't have a leader.
Guerrillas of Destiny. Yeah, that's one of the problems. You have LIJ, obviously. You have LIJ. They're normal.
They're number 1.
Yep. And then you have House of Torture. Am I missing anyone?
No, that's it.
Oh, TMDK, baby.
Oh, TMDK. Yeah,
that's the real fact.
And they're in a weird because where's Shane at?
Shane just wasn't here, and Fujita's hurt, so not a great time for a faction. So you know what? House of Torture by default. Congratulations. You are the number 2 faction in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Congrats to House of Torture, and thanks so much to Scott E. Wrestling, Scott Edwards, for joining us today, talking some Mercedes, talking some New Japan, and some Stardom. I'm looking forward to now AEW and Stardom working together. Thanks to you, sir. But let everybody know where they can see your content, hear you talk about the Joshi world and everything else in wrestling. The floor is yours.
Yeah, follow me at Scott E. Wrestling on Twitter. You can check out the 5-Star Joe Show anywhere you get your podcasts. And I write for a number of websites. I write for Wrestle Purist. I write for Voices of Wrestling. It's the best place to find my content. And of course, I do a bunch of stuff over at Fightful.com. So if you want to find my content, feel free. But that is it. Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me come on and talk Mercedes Mone. She's the best. You guys are the best. And I hope
Thank
you have a
staying longer
great
than you were
weekend.
supposed to. You know, we
Yeah.
appreciate you.
It's
so much.
okay. SP3 knows what to throw at me to keep me a little longer.
Got it. Okay.
I keep trying to go, but he keeps trying to pull me
You
back.
pull me back, right?
Yeah.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Scott.
guys.
We'll be seeing you again soon.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Thanks, brother.
Bye.
We gotta go back into the converse, Miss Krssi Luv, because we got a big news story that broke this week in the world of AEW.
What?
CJ Perry and Miro have
Ugh.
separated after 7 years of marriage. Perry confirmed to TMZ Sports this week that the couple have split up, with the site reporting that they broke up over the winter in December of 2023. Perry told the outlet, "Miro and I have made the difficult decision to separate after many wonderful years together and have decided to move on as friends and hopefully on-screen characters somewhere down the road." Both stars are signed to All Elite Wrestling and have worked together on screen. Perry turned on Andrade El Idolo and aligned with Miro at AEW World's End. Miro has not competed since that event, and Perry has been off of TV since then as well, as she's been dealing with an infection that has required her to be hospitalized and undergo surgery. And the two were married, of course, in 2016. What do you think about Miro and CJ Perry ending their long relationship here?
Very sad to hear. It's unfortunate that they couldn't work it out. I'm sad that they are breaking up, and now I got to be coworkers with you. You sure? Like, maybe I don't want to see you.
I was like, man, damn. But like, she just signed with AEW in September 2023.
I
So was this
know,
like a
like-
last ditch effort to save the marriage? Was them working
right.
together?
I don't know.
If it was, I don't think the best decision was to have another cuck storyline.
I was like, was it the thing where she was with another man yet again? Like, you should have just like put her with him and not
One too many cuck storylines for me.
cut one too many.
Miro and Lana and CJ Perry. One too many.
I was making it seem
That
like
tells me a lot.
It was making it seem like CJ was out in these streets. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to say nothing, but I don't know.
Like, we about to see CJ on the Black Series. Anyway,
Bobby Lashley was like, okay, what's happening?
Too many cucks. We got Power Driver Finisher says, "I'm saddened because it makes me lose hope. Like, can anyone just be married till death do us part? Don't lose hope." Look at that. Miss Krssi Luv is the example for you.
We make 15 next month.
Hey, see, you gotta love it. You love
and
to
we're
see.
still young and thriving, so it's okay.
All right. Since she's talking about her long-lasting marriage, I will talk about someone that will not distract her from her long-lasting marriage. Will Ospreay, in an interview with Talk is Jericho. Will Ospreay spoke about
show. Oh, I'm so sorry. Damn, my bad.
Will Ospreay spoke about getting an offer from WWE before signing with AEW, noting that AEW had the better offer. On deciding,
I'm sure I was. Sorry,
on deciding where he wanted to be, he said, "Main thing was I wanted to be in the UK. I know I'm not going to be exactly comfortable moving to another country. I moved to Japan in 2019. As much as I love it, it wasn't home. I entered a new relationship with my new missus, who wrestled under the name Alex Windsor. I have a stepson now. He just started school, and if you know her story and everything she's been through, the UK scene kind of knows it. But she lost her husband and having to pick herself up from that, and having to be a single mom, to losing her husband is going to have some tolls on you. So she needs to be around family and friends in her social circle. I couldn't bear the thought of moving her away from all of that and having her on her own again. For me, the main priority was to stay in the UK, but also wanting to up the wrestling because I have done everything in New Japan. I completed it. The viable option was where I was happy and what I was doing, and every time I came to AEW, Tony Khan has given me nothing but trust and respect the moment I came in here. It was the right decision for me at this time. I'm happy here and looking forward to the challenges. It's the right decision. On talking to WWE, he said, yeah, of course, but it was night and day. Even if I'll put on my Will Ospreay accent, even if the bruv what they were they were offering and what AEW was offering, AEW was way better. The scheduling, everything about All Elite Wrestling was completely the right option for me. It was always, you can go be a superstar in WWE and famous, but it's not as good of a pay and it's not as kind of a schedule. I respect everyone there doing it, but it's not for me.
Not for you. Yeah. And yeah, he literally comes in Tuesday, does Wednesday, and leaves Thursday, and then comes back and goes back home to London.
He's like 2 days away. There's 2 days away to work.
2 days out of the week for me to work. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at that schedule. I mean, you got to fly everywhere you go. I mean, it's a lot of like flyer mileage, but I mean, sure. But hey, I mean, you have to do what's best for your family. And then if, like you said, he has a stepson now. He has a new, his new lady, his fiance, whatever. So he has to do what works for them, and he doesn't want to like uproot them and send them to damn Florida. They don't even know shit about Florida. Because that's what he would have. That's what he would have been at if he was gonna go with WWE, right in fucking
Everybody
Florida.
lived in Florida. It's like a fucking gated community over
Yep,
there.
they all got to be neighbors down there. So yeah, he made the right decision, and again, AEW gave him more money. Let's go. I only got to work 2 days, and I'm getting more money. It was a no. I hear what you mean. No brainer.
We got Power Driver Finisher. He says, now you're testing boundaries, SP3, with Big Willie Ospreay. You might say that I'm stretching boundaries.
Stretch it, yeah.
Anyway, AEW Rampage last night. The show featured the Undisputed Kingdom. They picked up a victory over Action Andretti and Top Flight in a pretty fun trios matchup. You also had Orange Cassidy and Trent of the Best Friends. They defeated Dark Order in a decent opener. And a match that Krssi Luv warned me I would love, and I did. It was a super fun matchup. Konosuke Takeshita defeating Commander with some crazy ass spots, including
and you
that
didn't
springboard.
even get the whole thing. Like they cut some stuff out. Like man, it was so good. We were like,
the springboard Canadian Destroyer was my favorite spot of the night. That was great. It was awesome. And then you also had Timeless Tony Storm and Mariah May. They beat LMK and Kayla Sparks in dominating fashion. Post-match, Deonna Purrazzo came out to introduce her partner for next Wednesday's AEW Dynamite. None other than Tony Storm's former partner, the former AEW Women's World Champion, Thunder Rosa. Good stuff there. Then I
kind of forgot about Thunder Rosa. I was like, oh, maybe it'll be Mercedes first. Like that would be great. But I was like, oh, Thunder Rosa. Okay, I understand why Thunder Rosa. It makes sense. Yes.
I thought it was going to be Britt, but Thunder Rosa is much better.
True.
Then we had AEW Collision last Saturday. You had the show featured House of Black defeating Mark Briscoe, Jeff Jarrett, and Jay Lethal in a very wild Atlanta street fight that ended with the House driving Briscoe through a flaming table to pick up the victory. You also had Bryan Danielson defeated Shane Taylor in a great David versus Goliath battle. Post-match, Will Ospreay came out to call out Danielson for interrupting him on Dynamite, which led to Bryan challenging Ospreay for a matchup at AEW Dynasty, and Ospreay responded, yes, bruv. You also had Nick Wayne. He picked up a victory over Adam Priest. Post-match, the Rated R superstar Adam Copeland showed up to attack the patriarchy and tease using a spike on Christian for their I Quit match coming up in Toronto. You also had the Elites, Kazuchika Okada, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson making their in-ring debut in dominating fashion, picking up the victory by Okada by himself on 3 guys. Post-match, Eddie Kingston came out to get some revenge, but the numbers got the better of him. Pentel Zero Miro tried to make the save, but Okada got the better of him until the bastard Pac made his return to beat up the Bucks, confront and brawl with Kazuchika Okada before Eddie Kingston made a challenge for the trios matchup on AEW Big Business.
I love how Okada just looked down at him like, okay, little man, like.
I love Okada. I think the best thing Okada did this week was the promo on there was a promo on social media, and then there was a
Okay.
promo on Dynamite, which were the best two things that have just made me fall in love with this new Elite act. The promo on social media was them talking after their debut, and Okada asks the Bucks, what's a bastard? And Matt says it's a fatherless oh, never mind. And then Nicholas pops me because he says Christian can explain it to you. and then the promo on Dynamite, promo on Dynamite with Okada saying, Pac, Kingston, Penta, I am coming for you. But have you wished Matthew a happy birthday?
Yes.
And he says, happy birthday, Matthew. No. Sing it.
Sing it. Yeah. And then everyone
His delivery of sing it. It was the greatest thing ever. I love
And everybody
Okada.
everyone started singing happy birthday. It was so funny.
Okada is the best heel ever. And like Scott says, AEW feels like they signed the top heel, a top baby face, and the face of the women's division in the last few weeks. And now that leads us, we talked about a little bit earlier, Krssi Luv, the AEW World Tag Team Championship Tournament. It was announced on Collision last week that the tournament will start tonight. And then we got the brackets on Rampage last night. I thought it was a mistake to put it on Rampage. You should have put it on Dynamite.
Yeah, he should have, but they didn't show us, but go ahead.
Rampage, we saw the bracket. Here it is. It's got the bracket of 12 teams for this turn. Well, yeah, 12. No.
Okay, I can't see the
10
bottom
teams.
one, but okay.
10 teams. You can remove the banner there. There you go. 10 teams. 10 teams there, as it's going to be in the tournament. The Young Bucks versus Private Party, which I thought was the best booking on this tournament. Huh?
Where's
exactly. Exactly.
Maybe it'll be the wild card.
Young Bucks versus Private Party. That was very well done because that's a rematch from the original tag team title tournament. On this side of the bracket, you also got Undisputed Kingdom, the ROH World Tag Team Champions. They will face the winner of the wild card matchup between the Best Friends, Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta, versus Powerhouse Hobbs and Kyle Fletcher of the Don Callis family. Then you got on the right-hand side of the bracket, former AEW World Tag Team Champions Ricky Starks and Big Bill. They will face Top Flight. Meanwhile, FTR, two-time AEW World Tag Team Champions, will face the winner of the wild card matchup that will be on tonight's episode of Collision, as the Infantry will verse Buddy Matthews and Brody King of the House of Black.
I'm confused.
Where the fuck is the is Blackpool Combat Club? How dare you, Tony Khan, have them beat FTR in their home state and then not even put them in the championship tournament? That is ridiculous.
I misread that whole thing because I'm thinking the wild card, maybe it's like, but I see like at the bottom two people are the wild cards themselves. So whoever wins that goes against the other people. That's stupid. I don't like it at all. There's so many other tag teams you could have added to this that, you Hobbs is not even in a freaking tag team. You just put two random people together. Stop doing that.
So bad. It's like, come on, man. It's like the simplest thing possible. Just do the simple things. Book. I don't know. Maybe it's a book.
Now it's like who's gonna be the champions now? Let's just kind of.
It's gonna come down to the Bucks and FTR. Obviously.
FTR, yeah.
Bucks and FTR in the finals. That's. I said that from the very beginning. I said that when we were predicting Sting and Darby versus the Young Bucks. I said they're gonna win the Sting and Darby and then do the tournament because Tony wanted to do the tournament with the finals, FTR and Young Bucks, to determine who's the three-time AEW World Tag Team champion.
The superior ones. Yep.
We got Brandon Brown, one of our members for 5 months. Thank you so much, Brandon Brown, for supporting us. You can support us as well. Hit the join button. $1 a month gets you exclusive content, and as well as you get the perks like that to shout you out during the flagship podcast here. We got Senior Nerd, who says WWE would never treated Will Ospreay like the star he is. They would have changed his name, changed his wrestling style, and make him a low mid-carder.
Don't he own? But ain't that his name? Like Adam Cole? Like, can he use his name anywhere he goes? Like, cause that's his name.
Yeah, that's his name. That he would have been able to use Will Ospreay, but we don't know if WWE would have let him use Will Ospreay. That's the thing. Maybe this era of WWE would have, but all you have to do is look at fucking Ricochet. That's what Will Ospreay would have been in WWE. Because Ricochet, when I saw him tear it up, we'll talk about WWE in a little bit here. When I saw him tear it up with JD McDonough this week, I was like, this guy needs to be in AEW so fucking bad. He's just as long as his contract they're just gonna throw him out on TV every 3 months where he has good to great matches, and they're never gonna push him. The only way he's gonna get over being a great in-ring worker is in AEW, because that don't work here.
Put him in ROH real easy. Like, he'll be great. Like, just he's only
him and Ospreay started like a whole revolution for the junior heavyweight division in New Japan. Throw him in there with Ospreay from the get-go in AEW. He would get over.
He's only there to escort Samantha to her job position every Monday. Sorry to say. But yeah, he cooked on Monday, and like you said, it's so sad to see that this star, that this guy is so good, and y'all using him as like just one off of him. Just use him every couple of months when you need him to do in a tournament, and that's it, because he doesn't have any one-on-one matches. Like, yeah, sad.
Power driver finisher. He doesn't need mic skills. We just put the Prince Puma mask on him and have Conan be his manager again. How about it? We need to get back on Conan's.
Get someone like Prince Nana. Get him a mouthpiece, and that's it.
Like they do good with AEW with managers and using mouthpieces. He doesn't need mic skills. He just needs to be a great in-ring worker, which he already is. No, 100% power driver finisher. I agree with you. That's why I said he needs to get the fuck out, because he's not going to go anywhere in WWE. Because yes, you need mic skills. You need character work. He doesn't do those things, so he needs to get the fuck out.
He needs to go somewhere where he can do everything that he needs to and don't talk. Just wrestle.
We got Nicky Boy. He says, "Why isn't FTR facing the Infantry after that promo last week?" I like what they did here, because they have the Infantry going against the House of Black, where the House of Black, I already know what's going to happen. Mark Briscoe is going to cost the House of Black, so Infantry wins that, and Infantry gets a win before they lose to FTR. That's good booking. That's not something to ask question about. This one is the part that is annoying about this tournament is BCC. I'm gonna stand 10 toes down on this.
Yeah,
I'm gonna start tagging Tony Khan. Like, why the fuck did you have them win at the pay-per-view then?
It's true. It's very true. It should have been something where they should have been in from the get-go, though. Like, no questions asked. Like, Claudio or what's the other one name? Claudio or Moxley and what's the one that got the belt? Damn.
What?
What's the other member in the Blackpool Con? What is his
name?
Oh,
Willie Yuta.
Well, there we go. Willie Yuta and Claudio. It could have been Claudio and Moxley. It could have been any way, but why are they not?
Yeah. If you didn't want it to be Moxley and Claudio, you could have just made it any two members.
Yeah.
If you're gonna bring back Wheeler just to lose in CMLL, you could bring him back to lose in the tournament.
Exactly.
Let's talk about Okada, because there's a lot of backstage reaction to his debut last week on Dynamite. According to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, AEW is extremely pleased with the full-time debut of the Rainmaker. The decision to turn Okada into a heel was made well in advance of his debut, with AEW president Tony Khan coming up with the idea around the holidays. And Khan has always believed that Okada has the potential to become a major heel star on American wrestling television, even before AEW was established in 2019. He got that Vince McMahon brain, Japanese evil. Okada's recent performances have only solidified Khan's belief in him, with the company considering it a huge success. Okada's facial expressions have also been very well received within the company. All Elite Wrestling hopes that he can bring a fresh approach to wrestling that he has never done before. The company is also confident in the chemistry between Okada and the Young Bucks, which was anticipated based on their past interactions. AEW officials were pleased and thrilled with the response to the Collision segments featuring Okada. They strategically timed his debut immediately after Sting's retirement to bring in another big star for a significant moment, seeing that Sting was going out of the company. Wise decision, and I am absolutely loving Okada as much as I love what they did in AEW Big Business. And like I said, it was a great debut for Mercedes Mone. As much as I've been adoring Will Ospreay on American TV, and I think that Konosuke Takeshita and him tore it up in a match of the year candidate at Revolution. Okada has been the best for me out of the three signings as far as introduction. Because it's not what I expected. Will is still Will. Mercedes is still Mercedes. This is the Okada. I didn't think I was going to get this Okada, so I'm very pleased that I'm getting it.
So him being with the Elite, him being like, okay, got you. Being like with the boss men. Okay, I get what you're saying. Okay, fair enough. I get it. Because Will and Mercedes are them. They're themselves. The Rainmaker is not the Rainmaker at this company. He's the Rainmaker.
Okada.
Right. Yeah, he's like, yeah, there we go. Correct. Okay, I get it. Justified.
This is awesome, Chance. We got Pirate Driver Finisher says Yuta is best when he's getting beat up by BCC themselves. The Mark Briscoe House of Black stuff. Yeah, that's going to come into play in this matchup. RPGs is saying you might be on to something. Takeshita was practically the spokesman for Cinnabon. Then all of a sudden they turned him heel. See? Evil. He's like they're all evil. The Wrestling Observer newsletter had some reports as far as AEW's negotiations with Warner Brothers Discovery, and they report that they will likely be beginning negotiations with WBD for a new TV contract soon. WBD and the NBA are currently in serious negotiations for their own deal, and Sports Business Journal reported that the deal is 75% complete. Most believe that the AEW negotiations will begin soon thereafter, as the NBA deal is a higher priority, and AEW is still in the exclusive negotiating period for Warner Brothers, which means they can get no offer or talk with anyone else until that period ends. And a programming note as far as next week's AEW Rampage and Collision, some changes have been made to the schedule due to the NCAA March Madness. AEW Rampage will be live next week. It will be immediately following Dynamite. So you get 3 hours of AEW television in Toronto. No, 8 o'clock from 8 to 11.
Oh, like Raw. No, sorry.
It's like
Raw. Saturday.
Fightful reports that Rampage will be live on TBS after Dynamite on March 20th, as there will be NCAA coverage on March 22nd. Meanwhile, Collision will be taking a week off on March 23rd for the same reason. So be on the lookout for that. So no Collision discourse next week. No talk about Rampage next week on this show. So got that. And then to finish off the Converse, we had some important notes from Ring of Honor TV. We took a week off from talking about it last week because nothing happened. And now we got to talk about it because they started booking for Supercard of Honor. The show featured Athena returning to pick up a win over a former guest of the channel, the Woad. They picked up a win, Athena, and then post-match, she called out the entire women's roster for ducking her and not having any more challengers until former 3-time AEW Women's World Champion Hikaru Shida came out to interrupt to set up Athena versus Shida for Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor on April 5th in Philadelphia. Can't wait for that. And speaking of Supercard, an even bigger matchup was made as Eddie Kingston cut a superb promo in what had to be his hotel room.
Right, I want to say, is that his hotel? Like, that ain't at the crib.
Where he issued a challenge. He talked about how someone last year was supposed to get a shot at the Ring of Honor World Championship, but they got injured before they versed Claudio Castagnoli, and he said that it would be appropriate 11 years to the day that his brother won the Ring of Honor World Championship. Mark Briscoe will challenge Eddie Kingston as Supercard of Honor on April 5th. And that's to go along with the Ring of Honor Women's TV title tournament, which will see the finals at Supercard of Honor. On this week's show, Billy Starks defeated Diamante in a very good matchup. I thought this surpassed my expectations for it. They gave it a lot of time. And you also had Mercedes Martinez beat Abaddon to advance in the women's TV title tournament. So some good stuff all around from Ring of Honor and AEW this week. So good stuff. But I'm looking forward to Supercard of Honor for those.
I'm about to say Supercard of Honor is like it's 2 lit matches so far. It's like you ain't even did nothing really. Like
I Supercard of Honor made those 2 matches, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna apply. Applied for media, and I was like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I don't have to take a super bus to Philadelphia. So I'm fine either way.
Right,
fine.
Still apply. Just it's okay. Like
I was like, let me apply. Let me see what happens, because it's too late to apply for WWE stuff because they cut that off like a month ago. But WWE. Speaking of which, we gotta go over to the WWE side of things. WWE SmackDown this week, and of course, we gotta talk about The Rock again. As the show featured The Rock returning to Memphis and the return of the Hollywood Rock team. I was like, holy shit, let's go. Let's fucking go. And then we got the return of the Rock concert. This was basically a babyface Hollywood Rock, because Rock was very babyface with the Memphis crowd. The Memphis crowd loved him. They gave him a huge ovation, huge Rocky chants. He came out with the twist to the Hollywood Rock theme. He called out Cody crying on Raw, said that he would be the one handing Mama Rhodes a belt. And he says that the belt will not be the Universal Championship. It will be the Rock's belt. And The Rock says that the belt will be covered in blood, covered in the tears of Mama Rhodes. And then he's just gonna come real close to her and whisper in her ears, Michelle, what can I say except you're welcome? I popped so much. I was like, Maui said the line after he said shit twice in the same promo on national TV. This Rock, you're my favorite character in WWE right now. It's not even close.
I think his promos, even outside when he just lets them off on like Twitter and everything, is even more like they're like 10 minutes long and they're so good. And he's just like, oh, shut the fuck. Like, it's just so good. Like, he's so passionate about it.
And we'll talk about this week's promo as well in our news notes here. You also had Bayley beat Dakota Kai via DQ thanks to Damage Control. Post-match, Damage Control.
I will talk about it. Sorry.
Yeah, post-match, Damage Control jumped Bayley until Naomi tried to make the save, but the heels took control later out. That last spot, that over the moonsault where they elevated Bayley, that shit looked like it hurt Bayley.
It did. I said that last night.
Landed on her head.
I said that last night.
I was like, why don't I hear like outrage and shit online? Because I was like, yo, she nearly gave her a concussion. Like, we're mere weeks from WrestleMania.
Yep, her head bounced off of the thing, because how y'all pull her and she still lands on the girl's damn head? How? I was like, I hope Bayley is okay, because I saw it instantly. I'm like,
and did you notice Dakota going down and doing this, whispering, checking on her?
Yes. Because she saw it. I don't know if Asuka and Kyrie seen it, but Dakota saw it, and it's like, y'all pull her over to make sure that she's in the correct space for her to do the move, and you still fuck it up.
That was ridiculous. I was so upset. I was so upset.
I was like,
the finish to that match sucked. It fucking sucked. Io was in the ring for 45 seconds, circles Bayley. The other people get into the ring. No bell is rang. Bayley has to fight off all of them. Then the person Bayley's wrestling grabs her leg for Io to finally just punch her after she's been standing in the ring for a fucking minute. It was horrible. I was like, yo, I was saying to Dutch, and I would say to you, it feels like they have purposely cooled off Bayley and Damage Control story on purpose.
I didn't say that. I said that they buried this match. This match has been, first of all, they gave the girls 12 minutes, not even 12 minutes. Like, you looked at the clock, you're like, damn, well, how much minutes are they gonna get for the damn main event? I was like, it was at quarter 2 by the time they came in. We came back and they had a commercial break. It was like they've massacred one of this lady won the Royal Rumble. How, Sway? How? And now you don't even I wouldn't if I didn't watch the Royal Rumble, I wouldn't even known that she won the Royal Rumble and she's the one that's going to be supposed to go against Io.
See, I'm very glad we did for Facing Heels last Sunday, where me in the chat and you in person tried to talk Stephanie off the hill of thinking that Bailey and Io was going to main event night one, because like after this week
it don't even deserves it.
I would have had to call Stephanie. I would have had to call Mr. Hypes and be like, we need to have an intervention because obviously she's on some type of drugs.
It's to the point where they don't even care. Like even I don't even know what to say. Like all of the women that are having matches at this show, just call it a regular day at work, because it doesn't.
And I feel so bad. It's like the first 2 weeks they had something, and then they just cooled it off, put it on the back burner, and it feels like this is going to
burning,
be
like it's
this
dying,
is going to be
like
in line with like they're like this. And it's unfortunate because it feels like last year going into WrestleMania, only the women's builds were like ice cold and didn't feel hot at all. Now it feels like there's a lot. Like every week I'm like, yeah, this doesn't feel very hot. This feels cold. Like the Jay and Jimmy is ice cold. LA Knight and AJ Styles, ice fucking cold.
Okay. See, me and Amanda and I said this last night. We was like, it's sad because AJ Styles and LA Knight don't deserve this. Like put them on another card. I don't know, but no one's really gonna it's gonna probably be a good match, but no one's gonna say, hey, you guys remember that match from WrestleMania 40? Not me.
Because this feud started in December, and it's not long-term storytelling. It's telling a story very long. Because it was shaky ground to begin with of why AJ Styles was more upset with LA Knight than the actual people that took him out.
Correct.
And then it's like nothing they have done has heated this up to make this feel like some bitter rivalry. LA Knight getting, AJ Styles costing LA Knight the Elimination Chamber. Yeah, it's a cool angle, but I'm not really invested into it because I don't really understand why AJ Styles and LA Knight have an issue to begin with.
It's going to be a long, drawn 2 days.
Thank you, RPGs. It's like everybody and their mama 3 months ago was calling for LA Knight versus Logan Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in their mama.
Now it's a triple threat match. Why is there a triple threat match? Who's supposed to win this match now? Tell me which one.
I agree with Annika. It should have been a 5-way. You just throw in because also on this show, we got the announcement that Logan Paul will defend the United States Championship against Randy Orton and Kevin Owens in a triple threat match at WrestleMania. It should have been those three and Knight and AJ. Put a ladder in there. That should have been the ladder match at WrestleMania.
Not the tag match. Yep, I agree.
Not the tag match.
Yep.
Tag match. Romeo's up here saying, "Oh, it's gonna be a banger." I'm like, it might be a banger. It might be a clusterfuck because it's 12 guys. That has all the makings of a clusterfuck or someone getting hurt.
It's gonna be, like I said, they'd have to fill in 2 nights. I get all of that. However, let's make these matches. This is supposed to be like the biggest one of them all. This is number 40. Like, okay, this is like a milestone right now. And I feel like 40 will be buried. The only thing will be remembered is for the tag match, the main events. No one's going to remember anything else. And
main events, Becky and Rhea. If Bailey wins, they'll remember that. If Bailey loses, they're not going to remember that match. I'm sorry.
Well, Bailey
it doesn't matter how good it's going to be, but the result at the end of the night is not going to be remembered.
I mean, she hasn't really been like a credible.
Bailey hasn't been lighting it up as a babyface either, and this was her first match as a babyface.
Okay, you had Naomi come out and save her. It was like, now what do we do with all the other damn girls? We still have not heard for Bianca and.
I feel like Naomi getting involved in this is setting up Naomi and Bianca versus Kabuki Warriors for the tag team titles.
Okay, instead of Jade and Bianca.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm fine with that because they're still not on the card. I mean, we have 22 days left, and right now it's looking like it's just a regular pay-per-view that has a
Outside of
big
the top matches, outside of Rock being here, it's like, yeah, it's like you got Rhea and Becky is a matchup they've protected. Cody and Roman matchup they've protected. The tag team matchup is a big time like all-star tag team main event of WrestleMania. Those are 3 matches. They've cooled off Bailey and Io. Seth and Drew is more about the tag team matchup than their actual matchup, to the point you
Yeah.
have the heel who sounds like the babyface in
Yep.
pointing out the fact that the champion does not care about his title anymore. He
Correct.
now is going
Correct.
against everything he said before, and now he's focused on the bloodline. And I'll bring that up. I was going to bring that up when we got to Raw, but I'll bring it up now. Drew
might
is
as well.
right. Drew is right.
He
Seth is
is.
a hypocrite.
I agree on everything on that. I was like, Seth needs to like drop the title. I'm over it. I'm finished with it all. He's had it long enough. He's great. He was the first one to have it. Okay, job well done. Over. Let's give it to somebody else now. You've had it way too long, sir. Like it's like saturated at this point.
It just really feels like because they had to do this pivot with the main event, that all their efforts have been in the pivot and making this as great as possible, and the rest of the card has suffered because of it.
Yes. Agreed.
And then what like we're saying right now, the build is making it feel like, oh, it's just going to be a good WrestleMania. But this roster is one of their best rosters ever. So they can get in the ring on the day, on Saturday, on Sunday, and totally deliver. And then it will be considered one of the best WrestleManias.
Well, you know what? You're absolutely right, because their roster is good. They do understand their assignments, and they're like, let's go out, let's show up and show out. Great. Do all of that. No problem. Again, is where what we're complaining about and we're nitpicking about is the build of how you have these top stars, and there's nothing that says I can't wait to see that match.
Damn. Like even like some of the stuff that I was excited for like a few months ago, I'm not as excited for. Like I know like the tag team ladder match, like another thing Romeo said to me, he was like, yeah, it's just a tag team match. It's gonna be R-Truth's big moment. R-Truth, Awesome Truth's gonna win the matchup. I was like, I'm not into that story anymore. Like they cooled that shit off too.
I don't even know what. Okay, yeah, sure.
I'm not into it. I'm just like, I just shrugged. I was like, I don't feel anything about R-Truth winning the tag team.
Right.
I feel like that might be a bad decision.
I think that is a worse decision. We're only doing that because he's very over right now. But R-Truth is always over. So there's nothing, R-Truth can go sing in a garbage can. He'll still be over. Yeah. Regardless, he will sing that song and he will still be over regardless. So it's like, we don't need to give him a title to make him over because he's already over. He's R-Truth all the time. Like, this is what he does. He does these comedy things. He does all this stuff because that's who he is. He will never change. And I'm fine with all of that. But it's just like, okay, are we splitting up the titles? Like, what are we doing? Are we getting new titles because they're ugly? Like,
I thought that was going to be the announcement. I was disappointed that it was a ladder match. It was the announcement. I thought they were going to split the titles and we were going to get 2 different 4-way matches.
But it's time for them to do it over. It's time for them to figure it out, though.
Chuck Berries with a super chat donation. Thank you so much, Chuck Berries. He says, my only complaint with SmackDown was there was no Tiffy time and my girl Bailey getting done dirty. I said it last night on our SmackDown review on Sportskeeda, and I'll say it here. Just watch the Rock segment and the stuff with Logan Paul and save yourself the time. Rock and Logan Paul were the things that were important on that show. Everything else, you could throw it away. LWO beating Legado del Fantasma. Okay, cool. They didn't even qualify for the ladder match. They qualified to get in a matchup to qualify for the ladder. I was like, so you're wasting our fucking time? Oh,
right.
Good.
That's what I
good.
Exactly. So I was like, wait. So you have these 2 teams. Now we have to wait for the next opponent. Like, we got 4 slots to fill in this. And like, how long? Like, I understand we have 22 days. It was like, we're not going to know.
We got 5 slots to fill. 5 slots. Yeah. Oh. It's a 6-team ladder match.
Oh, I thought it was 5. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it's 5 spots to fill. So like, I don't know what they wasting time for. It should just be You beat one team, you get in the matchup. We don't need like brackets and shit like that. Like, no, I'm good. We got Big Man Dogs. He says, wasn't Awesome Truth only a thing for a couple of months back in the day? Yeah. Only a few months, and then they broke them up. Nikki Boy says, yeah, I was really hoping they would split the belts. It seems like they're never gonna do that shit.
Right, like what's the whole point of having two brands then? Because they barely come on SmackDown, they're mostly on Raw.
We do have some Rock news to discuss because The Rock will not be here for long after WrestleMania. PW Insider reports that the A24's The Smashing Machine starring The Rock will begin production on May 1st. The biopic, which looks at the life of former UFC fighter Mark Kerr, was announced back in December. It was been in development since November 2019, but was delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It's based on the 2002 documentary, The Smashing Machine, The Life and Times of Mark Kerr. Rock will also produce through $7. Emily Blunt will play Kerr's wife, Dawn Staples. Casting is ongoing for several key roles. Production will end on August 1st. For those hoping Rock will be back to wrestle after WrestleMania, this will likely put a stop to that until the fall at the earliest. Benny Safdie will write and direct the movie. The Smashing Machine will shoot in Los Angeles, New Mexico, and Tokyo, and Vancouver. Other roles yet to be cast are Bas Rutten, Igor Bankurin, bride owner Nakadado Sakurabara, and Mark Coleman, who was Kerr's mentor and trainer. The Rock directed his attention to Cody Rhodes' mother in his latest social media promo. The Great One posted the new promo on his Twitter account before this week's SmackDown. He said, on pro wrestling being cool again is a big week here in the world of professional wrestling because once again, pro wrestling is cool again. Once again, professional wrestling is relevant. Once again, everyone's talking about professional wrestling. Why? Because of one man, and you're looking at him because of The Rock. Because the People's Champion professional wrestling is happening, and is happening because of the final boss, The Rock. Cody Rhodes' Raw promo, he says, and Cody Rhodes, The Rock, couldn't wait. The Rock couldn't wait to see how you were going to react and respond after that Friday slap on Monday Night Raw. 2 days later, what were you going to do? You get on Monday Night Raw, you get in the middle of the ring, and the world is watching, and here's what you did. Here's how you responded to the biggest moment of your career when you slapped The Rock. He shows the video of Cody crying, and he says, are you fucking kidding me? You start fucking crying? You start crying? That's how you respond? No wonder all your fans are crybabies. Cody crybabies, no wonder. Because they're Superman, their hero. He's crying too. You're crying. I can't give the belt to Dusty, but I can give it to my mama. I can give it to my mommy. My mommy. Shut the fuck up. Give it to your mommy. Cody's mom, he says, you ain't giving the title to your mama. You ain't giving that title, the universal title, to your mama. That title is going to remain around the waist of Roman Reigns. But here's what's going to happen at WrestleMania. And The Rock wants your mama to have a front row seat. Mama Rose, The Rock is talking to you. Yeah, now you're in The Rock's crosshairs. This guy is the greatest. He's the greatest.
He said, shut the fuck. I was like rolling. I was like,
literally does these social media promos to say fucking shit as much
as Yes, I agree. I think that's really what it is. I think he can curse as much as he can because he can't do it on TV. So he does it here. And he just shows up. Office where you can fuck. Great stuff.
Absolutely. Office, the direction you can fuck. You can fuck. Speaking of The Rock, though, the Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that The Rock's grandmother, Leia Maivia, will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. While WWE has yet to announce the news, this would make her the final inductee of the class of 2024. She joins Paul Heyman, Bull Nakano, Barry Windham, and Mike Rotunda, the U.S. Express, Muhammad Ali, Thunderbolt Patterson, and the induction ceremony happens on April 5th following the episode of SmackDown. Will stream live on Peacock. The Wrestling Observer newsletter notes that Maivia was confirmed by their WWE sources, and The Rock will do the induction speech. Maivia was the promoter of the Polynesian Pro Wrestling, which included Rock's father, Rocky Johnson, among its stars, and it was noted that while Bray Wyatt has been rumored to go in this year, his status is uncertain. As noted last week, Fightful Select reported that The Rock has major input on this year's Hall of Fame, and here's the proof.
Yep. Exactly. So who gets the Warrior Award?
That's an interesting question. I would think Thunderbolt Patterson. If it's out of those people, maybe they announce the Warrior Award separately. Hopefully. I don't know who would be a candidate. Maybe they give that to Bray Wyatt.
Okay.
That's
true. And then have
just an idea.
Yeah, his kids be there to accept it or whatever. I mean, hey.
It would be nice.
Yeah.
Senior Nerd says, how the fuck WWE was named 2023 Promotion of the Year by Wrestling Observer newsletter? Because the fans voted for it, and in my opinion, I voted for WWE as Promotion of the Year. No other promotion was given their fan base what they wanted to see more and was as successful business-wise as WWE. That's why they were Promotion of the Year, in my opinion. We got Big Man Dogs. He says Rock is sports entertainment to death. Absolutely. Benny says this was a master at work. Indeed, The Rock had the crowd in the palm of his hand on social media and on SmackDown last night. And we got a message from Vala B, who has been a member for 8 months. Thank you so much, Vala B. Become a member, $1 a month, like Vala B. You get the perks and you get the big blast off shout out when you hit special milestones like 8 months as a member. Thank you, Vala B, one of our big supporters. He says, if Cody doesn't have a comeback for this, it will hurt him bad. I mean, Cody just needs to stop talking about his mom and dad. Because he gets too emotional. And I like Dutch Mantel was the person that made me realize, I was like, yeah, that's not the best look. And I understand. I really like the promo on Raw, and we'll talk about it here. But yeah, when you're going against like The Rock, who's gonna mention it and roast you on it, not the best move.
Yeah, he's gonna make fun of it. He's gonna keep doing it over now. And the Cody Crybaby, he's taking it and running with it. And now you've added your parents in it. We gotta do better for Monday, friend. We gotta do better.
We shall see. But moving on to WWE Raw this week, the show featured Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn picking up the win, defeating Chad Gable, Shinsuke Nakamura,
I guess.
Bronson Reed, Ricochet, and JD McDonough in what I thought was a splendid gauntlet matchup, especially the final two with Sami going at it with Chad Gable in an excellent bout. But Sami survived Shinsuke Nakamura, survived Bronson Reed and the Tsunami. We also had Ricochet tear it up with JD McDonough before taking the fall to Bronson Reed. All for Sami to become the number one contender for Gunther's Intercontinental Championship coming up at WrestleMania 40. Drew McIntyre tried to convince Seth Rollins to take his own advice and get out of the Bloodline's business, while Seth tried to antagonize Drew by saying he was the least of his concerns heading into WrestleMania. We also had Becky Lynch beat Liv Morgan in a very good encounter. Post-match, we got yet another terrific promo exchange between Becky and Rhea Ripley. We also had Raw and SmackDown general managers Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis announce the Judgment Day will defend the undisputed WWE tag team titles in a 6-pack ladder match at WrestleMania 40. And like I said before, Cody Rhodes cut an impassioned, fantastic, emotional promo about finishing his story, about his journey, how people can change, and beating The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40 and doing it for his mama. We'll hand it to my mama. It was a great promo. I was like, not too many people can cut that great of a babyface promo and enhance his connection with the crowd, and it felt like Cody did that there.
Yeah. It was very good, but yeah, you got to kind of stop talking about your mama now, friend. Like it's and your mom and dad. Like we get it, we understand it, we know the story backwards and forwards, round and round, word for word, bar for bar, all of it. We got it. Let's just do it the other way now. It's over.
Let's try something different. Let's try something different.
Another approach.
What do you think? Do you think WWE made the right decision with having Sami Zayn win the gauntlet instead of Chad Gable? They got a lot of outrage following Monday Night Raw this week, with a lot of fans believing that WWE should have went with Chad Gable after the last couple of weeks. They really put the focus on his story with Gunther getting back to WrestleMania.
Listen, they both lost to Gunther. Let's just put it out there.
Well, Sammy lost in a non-title match. He's never gotten a shot at the title.
They still lost. And they're going to lose again at WrestleMania. So, I mean, would we rather have Gable go through that all again on a bigger stage? Probably not. But I get why, because like Sammy was hot a while ago. He's back to where Sammy was at before he did the whole bloodline stuff. I feel like I think he's gotten buried in like under, I don't think he is as hot as he was about a year and a half ago. He's like, but yeah, this is good. Yeah, I believe it. Your chat is over. But I don't think they're going for superior. They want Gunther to look superior, and we could do that with Gable. But I think the opponent that probably would make it look much superior would be Sammy.
I wouldn't say Sammy's cold. He's just a lot colder than he was a year ago.
Cold is cold, friend. Like, cold. Yeah. Are you freezing or are you cold? Like, which one?
He's not freezing. Like, I don't think he's freezing. I don't think he's freezing. I think that he's just nippy.
He's nippy. Okay, he need to put on a jacket. Okay,
he need to put on a sweater. We got a new report which has identified our corporate officers in Vince McMahon's lawsuit. Yes, we are going into the Vince McMahon verse first time in like.
You think it's over and it comes right on back.
A new report has identified Nick Khan and WWE COO Brad Bloom and more as the corporate officers in Janelle Grant's lawsuit against the company, Vince McMahon, and John Laurinaitis. As has been reported, Grant sued McMahon, Laurinaitis, and the WWE, alleging that McMahon sexually trafficked and assaulted her, among other things, and that WWE covered up the allegations. The lawsuit has listed two individuals as only corporate officer number 1 and corporate officer number 2 as having been involved in facilitating and covering up the exploitation alleged. A report from Front Office Sports has identified the two as Nick Khan, the president of WWE, and Brad Bloom, the COO of WWE. Khan is a corporate officer number 1 and Bloom is corporate officer number 2, according to the report, which cross-checked the allegations against publicly available records, such as resumes, corporate filings, in addition to information provided by a source. Grant's attorney, when asked for comment, said, "I can confirm that these names are correct. These are there are two other unnamed individuals in corporate officer number 3 and corporate officer number 4. The site reports that number 3, who is given one ambiguous mention, is Stephanie McMahon, while number 4, who allegedly offered Grant a job on McMahon's orders in May of 2019, is identified as former general counsel and WWE NXT legal department head Brian Nurse. It is important to note that the suit does not explicitly make any claims regarding whether Khan, Bloom, or the others were aware of the alleged acts of SA and denigration, and it alleges that McMahon named Bloom and Khan after the latter was hired in August of 2020 as his key fixers and had promised Grant in March of 2019 that his office would arrange a meeting with Bloom, who was EVP of operations at the time. Grant allegedly met with Bloom the next week and was hardly asked any questions. She was soon hired for a job in the legal department for $75,000 salary. And the suit alleges that McMahon told Grant in February of 2020 that he had been warned by Bloom of a lot of rumors circulating about the relationship between McMahon and Grant, and she was immediately transferred to another department. And it also says that McMahon told Grant that after she signed the NDA about the matter, that if she needed anything, all she had to do was call Bloom as one of the two people she could call. As for Khan, he allegedly introduced himself to Grant in March of 2021 and said he knew exactly who she was.
Right.
And then later that day, McMahon told her she had informed them of the nature of their relationship in a meeting. What?
Right.
And the two voiced concerns and asked if she could be trusted. A spokesperson of WWE denies such a meeting ever happened, and WWE issued a comment on the report that reads, WWE takes Mrs. Grant's allegations very seriously and has no tolerance for any physical abuse or unwanted physical contact. Neither Nick Khan nor Brad Bloom, prior to the lawsuit being filed on January 25th, 2024, were aware of any allegation by Miss Grant and that she was the victim of abuse or unwanted physical content, nor does the complaint allege that either had knowledge of such.
Seeing these allegations, I was like, damn. It's not looking good for you people at all. Like, to do his dirty work, and he's pulling everyone down. Well, not pulling, but they got evidence that he's had everyone a part of this whole conspiracy cover up. I don't even know what else to say. Like, it's a
conspiracy. Yeah, it's a conspiracy and a cover up. That seems very accurate.
Conspiracy, cover up, all of the above, and to bring your own daughter into this is like, God, like
so
what kind of But I mean,
but I'm sorry. I have to be the person to say this because I've been the person to say a lot of things when it comes to wrestling stories like this.
We're not surprised.
If Stephanie McMahon knew, Triple H did too. That's all I'll say.
Because she gonna tell her husband.
That's all I'll say.
Or he gonna find out.
So he don't have to be named. He don't have to be named. If Stephanie's named, he knew.
He knew for sure. It ain't no lie. There ain't no lies detected there, friend. He knew.
That's just my feeling. That's just my feeling. Just my feeling. My gut feeling. We got a Super Chisholm donation from the GOAT, Will Chisholm. Thank you so much, Will. He says The Rock is the bigger monkey's paw. He's back, but he overshadows everybody. If you tell him 10-minute promo, he's doing 25 just because you said 10. Who's really going to stop him? It's so true. It's like the catch-22 of The Rock is back. More people are going to watch, more attention on WWE. It feels hotter than ever, but the juxtaposition is everybody else
gets pushed back.
Feels less hot in comparison.
And it's going to get rushed like that. They had a final right before our main event. We had another qualifying match, and we was like, that got rushed because, he took 24 minutes. I mean, we didn't really need much time to see the Czech Republic against what's the damn boy's name? Pretty Deadly.
Yes. The new catch. You said new Czech Republic. I was like, what the fuck? New catch Republic.
Whatever. It's a dumbass name. Like, it's so stupid. What is it? New catch or catch?
New catch Republic. Yeah.
New catch. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No check. I don't. Damn. Okay. Fine.
Jerry Williams. He says, I've been back to watching wrestling since 2022. Sami Zayn peaked in Bloodline. Kevin's gone to a different brand. He might as well and be NXT for a revival. God damn, Jerry. You demoted him.
Right.
Don't take his check away. Let him still have his chicken and biscuits. He got a family to feed. Just saying.
Yeah.
But we talked about the Vince McMahon news and the corporate officer stuff. Like we always say with any Vince McMahon news, probably won't be the last time we discuss it.
No, but still probably more to come.
Including our next topic, which has to do with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar has been absent from WWE TV for some time and will miss his first WrestleMania in 3 years. He was rumored to be coming back, but WWE distanced itself from him after he was tied to the sex trafficking lawsuit against Vince McMahon. While Lesnar wasn't directly named, the lawsuit mentioned a world-famous athlete and former UFC heavyweight champion that McMahon allegedly offered Janelle Grant sexual services to, and the Wall Street Journal later reported that it was Lesnar. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, there is said to be less hard line about Lesnar coming back to WWE than said the hard line Mark Shapiro took against Vince McMahon ever returning last week. However, a company source noted that there is no movement right now to bring Lesnar back. There were said to be plans to bring Lesnar back for Royal Rumble prior to the lawsuit with a match against Gunther at WrestleMania. Obviously, that's no longer happening, and it should be noted that Lesnar is still listed on the company's active roster. And this is another thing that I had to mention. Gunther was never supposed to be facing Sami Zayn. He was never supposed to be facing Chad Gable. He was supposed to be facing Brock Lesnar. If it wasn't for this lawsuit, we would not be having Sami Zayn versus Gunther. We would not be even having these fans upset that Sami Zayn is versing Gunther. So shut up. Said it. Shut up.
I mean, we don't really need. Did you want to see Brock Lesnar and Gunther?
Yes, I want to see Brock Lesnar versus Gunther. I think that would deliver.
I mean, it'll give probably one of Brock's best matches in a long time. Sure.
I agree. Sure. That might be one of his best matches ever.
You know what? You are absolutely right. Because he got like about 10, 15 minutes in there.
Yeah, Gunther, like I'll meet you halfway, 15 minutes. He's gonna pitch for 30, but he's gonna realize that Brock gonna talk him down. He's gonna, all right, I'll meet you in the middle, 15. He was like, I always wanted 15 in his Gunther voice.
Yep.
WWE NXT is the last show we got a review from WWE this week. The show featured Trick Williams returning in the final segment where he challenged Carmelo Hayes for a match at NXT Stand and Deliver that was made official later this week. This led to the Metaphor interrupting for a promo exchange, which led to Trick Williams taking out Noam Dar and Ora Mensa, and then he made out with his real-life girlfriend of Lash Legend to end the show. We also had the LWO picking up a win because they can't pick up a win on SmackDown. They picked up a win on NXT over OTM to qualify for the three-way number one contenders matchup to face the Wolf Dogs for the NXT Tag Team Championship.
So they're definitely not going to be in the other. Well, they already lost anyway. So
they already lost. They're
yeah.
At Stand and Deliver, you also had Tony D'Angelo deliver a warning to NXT champion Ilya Dragunov at the bridge where he has gotten rid of a lot of different bodies. Just saying, cops. You can go search. Roxanne Perez explained her heel turn and how the fans found their new flavor of the months, but she is the most decorated NXT women's star ever, and that she took out Lyra Valkyria and wants the title back. Rich Holland.
Finally, you see something about her.
And Rich Holland went one-on-one with Shawn Spears. That went to a no contest as Rich Holland chokeslammed Spears through a table. Good stuff from NXT this week, but honestly, outside of the Trick segment, this was a skippable episode. It was just there. It was a show.
It was a show that you can just have on as background noise.
And that's what I did. I honestly was not really invested in this matchup. And none of the matches really felt like it was good enough for me to like even rate.
I almost got crucified because they was like, "What? You didn't watch NXT? It was so good." I was like, listen, NXT is, you don't really need to watch NXT to know what happens. I'm really sure it was a passable. Oh, you didn't see what happened with Trick? I don't need to see what happened with Trick. Like, I can read it. I see it on Twitter, and I'm gonna keep it pushing. Like, NXT can be skipped sometimes. Wrestling can't take up everyone's week. Sorry, friend.
I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. Good question here. We got another super chat donation. Thank you so much, Chuck Berries. You guys have killed it with the super chats. I was worried about y'all for a while, but Will came through with the super chisms and had to spark y'all and Chuck Berries with another super chat donation. Thank you so much, Chuck. He says, which moniker is better, the final boss or the CEO?
I would CEO.
I like boss. Final boss is it comes from Japanese professional wrestling. Meiko Satomura has been known as the final boss. Kenta Kobashi was known as the final boss for a time. Masawa was known as the final boss, but it's very rare that the final boss moniker is used in the States. And with everything that The Rock has said in his promo about Cody, I'm your boss, Seth. I'll take that title like that. It makes sense for him. The next evolution of this character, now he's being known as the final boss.
Okay.
What do you say? Final boss to CEO?
I had said CEO, but now that you break it down, now that you change, but either one, I don't really know.
We got Jerry Williams says, I need your opinions. Trick versus Mello is a WrestleMania match. This will get more pop than 70% of the other cards. I will say it's Trick and Mello have a better build than 70% of the matches on the card. That's for sure.
That is a fact. Absolutely. Like their story has been like forefronted and like been put on blast more than any other story that's gonna be on that card.
And we named all the
sad that they wanted to break up the friends as per usual. Like they always want to,
No, but it made sense. Trick was at that point. Trick was ready for that next step. So they needed to do that. And they did it the right way, not break them up and have them not interact with each other for 6 months where they don't get any individual singles wins and then decide, oh yeah, it's WrestleMania. We should have them face. And that's why we have a brother versus brother match at WrestleMania that no one seems to give a fuck about. Like there was a way to make Jimmy versus Jay work. It was not the way WWE did it though. I can't get over it.
It's true, though. Like they were supposed to do that since like December.
So stupid. During Tuesdays,
like when they put them over there, like so stupid.
During Tuesday's edition of Impulsive, WWE United States Champion Logan Paul announced that SummerSlam will be returning to Cleveland, Ohio, the Logan Paul's hometown, later this year. The event will take place on August 3rd. It will take place from the Cleveland Browns Stadium. Triple H commented on the news via social media, hinting that WWE has big plans for the event along with Paul's opponent. He wrote on X, "We've got big plans for SummerSlam's big return to Cleveland this year. P.S. at Logan Paul will need to iron out those details a bit. This will be the first edition of SummerSlam to take place in Cleveland since 1996. That event was headlined by Shawn Michaels versus Vader for the WWF Championship. And WWE SmackDown the night before will be held at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, also in Cleveland, Ohio. And of course, the show will take place on Peacock. Good choice for Cleveland to get SummerSlam this year.
Yeah, sure. They got to pick some stadium that they never been to, so yeah, it was bookable around that time.
I love asking you these questions where I know that I was like, I'm not gonna get a real answer. I just want to see if she gives me her answer in the way she answers, and sure, gave me the answer of no.
Meaning like I really don't care what they do.
Exactly. That's what I wanted. On the latest episode of the Hall of Fame podcast. Oh boy. It's a story about Booker T being a fucking idiot. On the latest episode of Hall of Fame podcast, Booker T talked about how he nearly got into a run-in with CM Punk on Tuesday's episode of NXT. CM Punk was allegedly backstage at NXT, and Booker T said, I saw CM Punk. He laughs. We'll talk about that off the air, but I almost got into a little run-in with CM Punk. The internet might want to pick that up. Me and CM Punk almost got into it at NXT this week. We'll talk about it later. I don't want to put it out there because they're going to pick it up and run with it.
Then why talk about it?
Exactly.
Why say anything about it? Like no one brought it up but you.
Shut the fuck up, Booker.
You're a whole ass clown. Fix your fucking beard, yo.
Booker declined to give details on the show, according to the Fightful Select. Sources in NXT said that there was a general sense of skepticism about Booker's comments within NXT. None of the sources were aware of the alleged run-in before Booker mentioned it on his podcast. And one source noted that Punk hasn't had any issues backstage since his return. Security was not made aware of any confrontation, and there was no talk about it backstage. That same source was surprised that Booker would mention it on his podcast without details. One talent outright denied such an incident took place, pointed out that Booker previously made comments of heat with Corey Graves on his show, and that turned out to be false as well. There was a feeling of frustration among those Fightful spoke to regarding Booker T making a claim like that because of Punk's history of backstage allegations or altercations. The site notes that NXT sources say that Punk has been very helpful backstage and has been open in helping whenever he's backstage at NXT, and Punk was said to be in a very good mood at the show and largely stayed to himself beyond speaking with Shawn Michaels, Matt Bloom, and a few people on the roster.
Just trying to make something out of nothing.
Booker T is the fucking worst. He's the fucking worst. He doesn't seem like a good person anymore. That's my issue. My issue with him is that he does not seem like he once seemed like a good person that I can root for. Like I saw his A&E biography. Great job of making him come off as likable. He does not come off as likable whenever he does these podcasts.
Seems like a jerk, an asshole.
Who just likes to get attention, who tries to get attention. And those are the worst. Old grifters who are trying to get attention. That's what Booker has become. We got a super chat donation from Jaleel. Thank you so much, Jaleel, for the support. I believe that's now 10 super chats for the show. We appreciate y'all. Jaleel says, if Bianca and Naomi do team up, do y'all see them winning championships, and what their team name? The Glowist.
The Glowist.
The Glowist. The Glowist and would be the team name. And yes, if it happens at WrestleMania, definitely Bianca Belair and Naomi is going to win because WWE wants to keep Bianca's undefeated streak intact.
And Bianca needs to make their gear.
Absolutely. Matching gear for both of them.
She's going to glow. She has to glow. So you're going to have to Bianca. You know, Bianca makes all her gear. So she has to make
Bianca's so talented. I'm going to ask her to make Naomi's weave as well. TNA Impact is our final show. What we missed this week, Miss Krssi Luv. The show featured Nick Nemeth, the Wanted Man, teaming up with Speedball Mountain, beating Steve Macklin and the Rascals in a very fun trios match. Post-match, the System came out and jumped Nemeth and Speedball and Trent Beretta, laying all three men out to close the show. This sets up Nick Nemeth versus Moose for the TNA World Championship at Rebellion, as well as Speedball Mountain versus Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards for the TNA Tag Team Championships at Rebellion in April. We also had Mustafa Ali pick up a win against Chris Sabin to retain the X Division Championship. Very fun matchup in this one here, as Chris Sabin failed to regain the championship, and Frankie Kazarian beat Ace Austin. Post-match, Kaz attacked ABC until EY, Eric Young, made the save. And then the Wrestling Observer newsletter had a report in regards to TNA, as they said TNA apparently took away any pro Scott D'Amore signs during last Friday's TNA Sacrifice and the subsequent Impact taping in Windsor, Ontario, which is where Scott D'Amore is from. It was also worth note that Sacrifice show had massive amounts of technical difficulties and issues with the feed on Triller TV. It seems like all the momentum that TNA had going into Hard to Kill and coming out of Hard to Kill has already disappeared.
Oh, and that's disappointing. Like, soon as you make the name change and you got these stars and everything, you are they cold, friend?
It just feels very listless. Like, it doesn't feel like it has a pulse sometimes. TNA.
Got it.
Feels like I'm watching a comatose promotion.
I had that shirt. I was looking at that too.
I agree. But yes, we got in the chat here. We got a couple of comments here. We got Jerry, who says, why do we have that big Bianca and Jade moment to the Royal Rumble just to get nothing at all since? I don't even think Jade is doing dark matches. She is not. And I think it's probably to set up a WrestleMania match 2 years from now.
See,
I don't do the booking. I don't do the booking.
I really, I don't know what they're doing with homegirl right now.
They just signed her to keep her away from AEW. It's pretty simple.
Because they probably knew that where Mercedes was going, so let's take their girl from them. That's the and we're gonna just bury her and just make her do appearances and give people belts on our behalf.
Exactly. You get it. You see the vision. You see their vision now. But yes, that brings us to a close on what we miss, and we'll close things out as always with our matches of the week. Not a crazy week this week, Miss Krssi Luv. I don't have 10 matches like I did last week. Only got 5. Sound off in the live chat. Let us know your favorite match from this past week. Give us 3, give us 5, however many you want to mention that is must watch from this past week. My honorable mention this week, we got Elite versus Eddie Kingston and Death Triangle from Big Business, Riho versus Willow from Big Business, and Becky versus Liv Morgan from Monday Night Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5 for me this week, Bryan Danielson versus Shane Taylor from Collision. Number 4 for me, Darby Allin versus Jay White from AEW Big Business. Number 3, the IC title gauntlet from Raw with Sammy and Chad Gable tearing it up at the end. Number 2 for me this week, Saray and Hashimoto versus Cosmic Angels from Stardom Cinderella Tour Night 1. And number 1 for me this week, Yota Tsuji versus Jeff Cobb. I love a heavyweight slugfest with 2 heavyweights that move like cruiserweights. That was great.
Great 5 matches, SP. For me, mines are going to be number 5 is going to be Ricochet and JD McDonough. I think they start off the gauntlet very well. Number 4 is going to be the Elite versus Eddie Kingston and what's the other guy's names?
Pac and Penta.
Pac and Penta. Excuse me. Sorry, that's so disrespectful. Number 3 is Riho and Willow. Number 2, I can give it to Gable and Sammy. And then number 1 is Takeshita and
Commander. Damn. Okay, I'll add that to my honorable mentions because that's
okay.
That's worthy of.
That I seen that match live and I was like, wow, this is it. This is amazing. Like, I instantly was like, this is SP. You're gonna love Rampage, man.
I did. I loved it. I loved Commander here. I thought it was one of Commander's better matchups.
Yeah.
Big Man Dog says Ren versus ZSJ was a good matchup, but it was a bad finish. People sometimes only remember the finish, my friend.
Yeah.
Annika says number 3, the Raw Gauntlet. Number 2, Willow versus Riho, and number 1 for her, Jay White and Darby. At one point this week, that was going to be my number 1, but I really enjoyed Tsuji and Cobb, as well as the Stardom tag team matchup and the IC Gauntlet match. But a good week for wrestling nonetheless. But that brings us to a close on another edition of our flagship podcast. Miss Krssi Luv, thank you as always. Let the people know where they can follow you on social media, what you got going on, bodyslam.net and everywhere else.
Yes, guys. So if you don't know, we are back doing Dark Side of the Ring review. So if you missed out on that, we dropped our first episode yesterday. We did our live review of the first 2 episodes of Earthquake and Buff Bagwell. So make sure you go and watch those on our channel. Other than that, you can find me here on our Tru Heel Heat flagship podcast every Saturday at 11:05 a.m. Bodyslam.net, where Know Your Role for Friday SmackDown review. Myself and Stephanie Hypes. And then we do Serving Face and Hills once a month on Sundays now. So catch me there. Other than that, you can follow me on Twitter, which is Tru Heel Krssi Luv. On the IG is Krssi Luv _1. And then it's just my plain old name, which is me, Crystal Lynch.
So I'm going to have a live production meeting here because I asked you something off air, but I'm going to ask you on here. Are you free tomorrow?
I am not.
Oh, see, you said you were free early on Sundays, but then
what time? Because I kind of committed to going to church with my grandma.
No, you're good. Go to church. Church is more important. But What we are, what I was asking that for is that we got something coming soon to our another channel that we're gonna do. But check out all the stuff Krssi Luv said. Check out bodyslam.net. Check out at Tru Heel SP3. Check out Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Tru Heel Heat. Patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. Guys, so important. That's the best place to support us when we're not here live with a live stream. ProWrestlingTees.com, foryourwear.com, /store/Tru Heel Heat. You got Servant Facing Heels merch over there, Tru Heel Heat merch. Get all your stuff ready for WrestleMania weekend and check out all the great content we got on the channel. Krssi Luv said the Dark Side of the Ring review. We also got dropping tomorrow an exclusive interview, our latest exclusive interview, Tru Heel's BTR Between the Ropes with Speedball Mike Bailey, Trent Seven, Speedball Mountain. We talk about their journey for TNA Tag Team Gold. We talk about the rebrand of TNA and what's the big dream match that Speedball wants to accomplish in 2024. Check that out tomorrow here on the channel. And like I said, over on Tru Heel Heat Sports and Entertainment, Romeo made the thumbnail, so I'll show it to you now. We're gonna do a Power character tier list. Power has had some big news this week with a whole new series about to drop, Origins, as well as the end of the Ghost series.
Oh my God, is that all
this
the
year?
characters?
Yes. So we're doing everything from every verse, the original Power series, book 2, book 3, book 4, character tier list coming to our sports and entertainment
channel. I gotta make time for this. Okay, sorry, I gotta make sure I'm available. All right, no problem.
She's like, I can get myself ready.
I gotta get myself
for Miss Krssi Luv, it is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, the SP3. I want to thank everyone for joining us today, but most especially, thank you all for helping us hit 13,000 subscribers here on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. Me and Krssi will see you next Saturday right here on the flagship. But until then, this has been Tru Heel Heat 268. You're welcome, CEO. We are signing off until next time.
Later.
CPT.